you are going to come under some pressure. You're going to hear all kinds of propaganda. You're going to hear all kinds of lies and deception. There will be tactics used to try and buy you out. There will be tactics used to try and frighten you away. And I only have to say one thing to you tonight, comrades. We are blood and fire comrades. And we're marching on to progress. And we will stand firm. We will not be bought because we are not for sale. you are going to come under some pressure. You're going to hear all kinds of propaganda. You're going to hear all kinds of lies and deception. There will be tactics used to try and buy you out. There will be tactics used to try and frighten you away. And I only have to say one thing to you tonight, comrades. We are blood and fire comrades, and we're marching on to progress. And we will stand firm. We will not be bought because we are not for sale.
So why you come to me with that foolishness, you know? You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right kind of stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them. The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm muted. Tuesday to everyone. Happy Tuesday to everyone in the chat. Happy Tuesday to our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday to everyone in television land. Thank you so much, as usual, for tuning in. Remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. That will be greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, Baron is not here yet. Hopefully, he should be here soon. He's got stuck in traffic. Apparently, there's an accident on the road. So he is maybe halfway here when I last spoke to him. So hopefully, he will get here soon. So tonight's topic is Innately Corrupt with Mystic Sensation. And as you know, Baron, Mr. Will Rattigan is also joining us in studio. Melting Pot, Pink's Q, and Daisy Magazine will also be joining us shortly. So let me just go ahead and say an umbrella welcome to everyone in the chat. The chat has gotten out of hand already, so I'm going to do an umbrella welcome and a special shout out to all the moderators and to all our channel members. Remember, guys, the event coming up in Jamaica on June 21st. Let me just go ahead.
The One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation and its global supporters cordially invite Jamaicans abroad and abroad to its inaugural reconnection on June 21st, 2025 at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston, Jamaica. Bring your entire family for a day of food, fun, entertainment, and information. Get an understanding of the Constitution and the skills necessary to exercise your rights and your civic responsibilities as Jamaican citizens. You can't afford to miss this inaugural reconnection rally, June 21st in Kingston. Tune in for further information and updates to Reason with Rattigan on YouTube and reggaeglobalradio.com, Saturdays at 3 p.m. New York time and at 2 p.m. in Jamaica.
See for yourself.
And guys, those who have not yet signed the Medicanscape petition, please go ahead and do so. I will pin the link in a little while in the chat. Tonight, we will have Dr. Kenneth Russell as our guest, and he is the MP candidate for Southeast St. Anne. He's in the background in the studio, but before I bring him on, I'm just going to ask Pink Q to give a welcome as usual to the people.
Good evening, Lady Anne Marie. Good evening, Radigan. Good evening, Melting Pot. And good evening to everyone in the chat. And I am in the parish of St. James, a proud resident of the parish of St. James. And I am saying a big hello to everyone in Northwest St. James. And we had a blast on Saturday with Steve McGregor. And thanks to everyone who turned out for that event.
Okay. All right. So next we'll ask Mr. Rattigan to meet and greet, and then Melting Pot.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Lady Anne, Pink, Melting Pot, and everyone in the chat. Just want to say it's a pleasure being here. And I want to thank you, Lady Anne, for playing that promo because everything is in full swing. We had some little setbacks, but the setback is there for the comeback. And we are looking forward to an outstanding event this coming Saturday at the Randy Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston. We have people who have left the UK and the US. Not sure about Canada so far, but they're actually in Jamaica right now for this event. And this event is going to be the first of its kind, hopefully not the last. And we have some dynamic speakers. The entertainment is set, everything locked, people. If you know, making arrangements forgot, then at least tune into it. I think Jeffrey Tavares will be bringing it live this Saturday. But tomorrow night we'll have more details. So again, I want to thank you, Lady Anne, for playing that, and it's my distinct pleasure to be here.
Okay. Melting Pot, take it away.
Good night to you all, everyone tuning in. So good to have you all here. I want to say a big shout out to Lady Pinkskew. Yeah, our lioness warrior. I want to also big up Lady Anne Marie, our weekly technical director. And I must yell out the man, Mr. Rattigan, man who is doing all the action, So I just want to say everyone go out and, support the world cause and the venture as the promo just highlight. I also want to say big up to the man that hosts the show, Lord Byron, soon be in the space. But most of all, I want to say big up to everyone tuning in worldwide. Locally, people on the ground, I want just make you all know, just keep strong, keep the faith, keep looking steadfast to the day when it come, because time come. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I am going to bring on Mr. Russell. Interesting. Hello, Mr. Russell. Are you there?
I am here. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Dr. Russell. Welcome to Mystic Sensation. Really glad to have you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Byron isn't here as yet, so I'm just going ahead to start because we know that you're on time, so we don't want to keep you waiting. So everyone, this is Dr. Kenneth Russell, MP candidate for Southeast St. Anne. And Mr. Russell, I just want you to just introduce yourself briefly to everyone and tell us why you chose the PNP as the vehicle to give the service to the nation.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So my name is Kenneth Russell. I am from the hills of Southeast St. Anne, which is this constituency, therefore, is home. This is where I grew up. It is also my pleasure to be able to serve, or offer myself to serve in this capacity. The PNP, growing up, the party which I saw as representing the people, as looking out for the interests of the people. And if you look in practical terms, in terms of what the party, not what it's only what it stands for, but what it does. In my community, a lot of us would still be considered bastards and would not be able to access the whatever property our parents own because of that designation. PNP changed that. In my community, a lot of my people, myself included, probably would not have accessed education in the way that we have. PNP changed that. And when you're thinking about a party that stands for social justice, stands for the upliftment of all people, not just some, and especially those who have been historically neglected and left out by the system, this is the party. And so, as somebody who is from very humble beginnings and wanting to be an agent of change, I see the People's National Party as the vehicle through which that could be done. And that's why I am PNP, because I know that not only the historical work that we've done, but also the future work. I'm really excited about the team of candidates who are slated to contest the election. Super excited about the leader of the party, Comrade Golding, and what we will do together. We are not satisfied with business as usual. We are actually quite pissed at the status quo, and we want to change things because this, as it is not working for the average Jamaican. And that's what we're about. It's about changing that and making sure we have a country that works for all of us, a country where people can, especially where young people can find themselves, can make a life, and don't feel pressured to run off somewhere else in order to do that. And it's fine if you want to go elsewhere, but you should not feel as though your only option is to do so. So I'm PNP because PNP is about the people, and that's where I want to spend the rest of my life's work, is to support the party to make a change for Jamaica.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm just going to introduce you to the panelists tonight. We have Pink Stew out of Montego Bay. We have Melting Pot, he's in the UK. Daisy Magazine, she's in the US. And Mr. Rattigan, also in the US. So Baron had a few questions he wanted to ask, and I'm sure the panelists will have questions as well. So I'm just going to go ahead with the first question that he had. So under the current JLP administration, we have seen a large number of members of our society pertaining to teachers' migration. Tell us how a PNP administration would change the trajectory. So with the teachers' migration, what he wants to know is how would you guys try to stop this mass migration that we've had with teachers not being satisfied with the present economy and how things are going in the country? How would you turn that around in your present, when you become the government?
Yeah, thank you. I think we have to understand the challenge that the system is facing and the factors that are pushing teachers out of the system. I was listening earlier today to a recording of a debate among the candidates for president of the Teachers Association, the Jamaica Teachers Association. And consistently, they're talking about, honestly, very basic things if you're a professional. The ability to own a home, the ability to own a motor vehicle, the ability to feed your family, the ability to ensure that you're feeling appreciated as a professional, and that your profession has a clear ladder from where you can move from one level to the other. These are things that we intend to address. And I don't know that the basis of the question is also reflecting the fact that we lost 1,500 or thereabouts teachers in the last school year. And every year we continue to lose more and more. The system as it is does not know until after the teacher has left. We don't know how many, we don't know where they're going, we don't know what areas we're losing them from. And so we are struggling to play catch up after they have already left. And that is absolutely unacceptable. So we on the one hand, we need better management of the movement of teachers. Secondly, we intend to implement a set of incentives to make teaching more attractive and to make teachers want to stay. So at the top of our list is better access to housing through the NHT. And that will take the form of lower rates, lower interest rates, but also a special mortgage arrangements for teachers. Secondly, teachers feel or they struggle to access, and the majority of the teachers actually cannot access the concessions that are available for civil servants and especially for teachers. And so we want to ensure that there is greater access to the concessions on motor vehicles. And this will take the form of what we've been referring to as a graduated approach. So you've worked for 5 years, every 5 years the incentive improves, because we also know that if you're a teacher, you master your craft, you become a master around 7 or 8 years into the profession. So we want to keep teachers in the profession for as long as possible. And certainly we don't want to lose you after 5 or 6 years. We want you to stay for 10 and for 15. And so we want the incentives then to be more attractive, so attractive that you want to stay, because you know there's more better coming the longer you stay. So those concessions would be designed in that way. We also have talked about, and we intend to ensure that teachers have access to what we call tools of trade. In this day and age, that looks pretty basic, like internet access, devices for your work, which should not be a burden on the pocket of the teachers. They should be able to access these at very reduced or at no cost. And that's something we intend to implement. Another area which we intend to invest in is to ensure that teachers who are working in difficult areas get a special incentive for doing so. And this serves multiple purposes. This arrangement is for hard to reach areas, like where I am from, in the hills of Southeast St. Anne. You might not attract the best teachers because of the difficulties associated with those areas. And then there are other areas for issues of violence and other access issues. So an incentive for you to, like a hardship allowance to allow you to work in those areas is something that was on the books before and that we intend to reintroduce, so that we not only keep you as a teacher in those areas, but we keep you in the profession, and the children in those areas also benefit. And then, you know, a few weeks ago, we had the controversial issue around the teaching council, and we support the council. We need a really strong teaching council, because the council's role is around professional development, making sure that you as a teacher, you are supported in your work, and we want to ensure that legislation gets approved. However, the way it is now is not acceptable. We want to ensure that a teacher feels that support in the form of continuous professional development, that they don't have to pay for that, or it comes at a very low cost and it's easily accessible. We also will ensure that if you are licensed, and when you're licensed and when you're certified, that we minimize the number of times you need to repeat the process, because right now the proposed every 5 years is not acceptable. It's too much of a burden on teachers. And we think all of these will contribute to teachers wanting to leave the system, which is actually what we're trying to avoid, right? So all of these things should work together to make the teacher want to stay in the classroom. And then the final aspect of this, of course, is making sure the environment is one that is conducive to learning, so that you as a teacher, you know, I know classrooms where the teacher has to spend, or has to have the students spend the morning sweeping that room because the termites have eaten out all the boards around the classroom. And so all of that dust that you have to deal with has to be swept. I know of teachers who cannot function in their classrooms because of the inflammation of their sinuses affected by some of this dust and the rat bat and all of this stuff. Time come for us to have an education system where our teachers can stand in a classroom or can work in a classroom that is not putting their health at risk. And that is exactly what's happening in some of our classrooms at the moment.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Rattigan, do you want to jump in and say anything to Dr. Russell?
Yes, indeed. Dr. Russell, again, welcome.
Thank you.
You cover money, right? It's in your constituency.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me just say on behalf of all the Rattigans in money, welcome again. And my question surrounds the basically food security. Because right after Beryl, you wrote an article
I
in
did.
the Gleaner. And I read the article. In fact, I have it here in front of me
Mm,
again. And well written, well thought out.
thank you.
And um let me just say to the people, just talk to people about some of the things that you wrote in this article. You talked about, okay, you said here are some suggestions, and you listed some of the suggestions: citizen-led assessment and initial support. And this is after
After,
a natural disaster,
yes.
predictability and preparedness and response funding. You also talked about guaranteed time frame for service resumption, rethink power sources for essential services, solar solutions for households and micro businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, resilience, food security, all very good topics. And you ended the article.
Mhm.
I find it quite interesting and thought provoking. You ended it by saying, let's not waste this crisis. So it was a clarion call to the government to say, look, here was a natural disaster. We weren't prepared for it. And the evidence is there. Let's learn from this. Let's use this as a hot wash for the future.
Yes.
Three questions. One is, um, did the government follow any of these suggestions to the best of your knowledge?
Okay.
Two, will these suggestions, and I really like them, will they
Mm,
become part of a formal manifesto? And three, if they become part of a formal manifesto, the one thing that I didn't see here is how are you going to fund these suggestions, these recommendations?
mm. All right. Thank you, and I do appreciate you taking the time to read that. And Beryl, every time one of these disasters happen, it's as if we're starting over. And I was really disappointed with Beryl. And I'll give you an example. I was in Dalrymple Park about 2 Fridays ago. There's a breadfruit tree, which the guys who cut it did an amazing job. They did not kill the tree. The tree had blown over in Beryl, and just the way they cut it allowed the tree to come back and is now bearing fruit, right? And the homeowner, I remember when I had gone there during my assessment, she had asked that if I saw the crews, ask them to come and cut the tree because it was of where it was. She was worried that it would do damage to her house. It had already fallen over. But the guys did an amazing job cutting the tree. Sadly, that's not the case for breadfruit trees across the constituency and across the country. Once they fell over, a lot of them were just cut up and basically killed. But this is a tree that would grow back pretty easily if you cut it in an appropriate way, allowing some of the limbs, because they basically will grow from the limbs, and they are really hardy and will sustain. And I mentioned that because the kind of assessments that we need to do after a hurricane, it's really critical that the experts are on spot and that we have a view to the future. We're not just cutting and clearing, we're also thinking about what can we preserve in order that we do not throw the baby with the bathwater, as they would say. Now, the suggestions around citizens-led assessment, their citizens are on the ground. This is like the basic of emergency response. Prepare the people who are the most affected to also be your initial responders, right? And we weren't seeing that. We are not seeing that in a consistent way across the country. And then the other suggestions, we in Claremont, the water system was down for almost 2 weeks, and then in other places for much longer than that. And we're saying that if you're able to have the appropriate backup system, you might not have one on every site, but certainly in an emergency, you should be able to quickly move in and try to restore these services, especially the water, which is so essential in a situation like this. Now, to your questions, I did hear the Prime Minister talk about having backup systems and using solar powered generators and so on in some of the essential services. So that's a good thing. The extent to which it has been done, I guess we will see if there's an emergency. I doubt, the way we are sometimes, we tend to, in the moment, we see what's possible, but then once the moment passes, the 9-day wonder. I think would be hard pressed to find a place where these steps have actually been taken, but I would love to be proven wrong. So not many of them, I would say, have been taken on board. I was listening this morning and I heard a farmer somewhere I think in St. Elizabeth saying he's still yet to be visited by RADA, right? So just the basic things that we got wrong with burial, which we need to look at, because again, we're almost a year since burial struck. We really need to be ready to respond and to ensure we don't repeat the errors. Now, will these be taken into the manifesto? We'll wait and see. I am not one of the authors of the manifesto. I know that process is very, very advanced, but the ideas are there, and I'll have to wait and see what gets formally incorporated. So I can't answer the second two parts of your question, but these are ideas that are consistent with where we stand as a party. So we'll have to just wait and see what comes out in the formal document.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Melting Pot, anything you want
Good
to?
evening. Right. Good evening, Dr. Russell.
Bless you, my
I
brother.
just like to, follow up on a earlier suggestion as it relates to mass migration in our educational system in regards to
Yes.
the teacher leaving. In regards to the numbers that has migrated, how many of those vacancies have been filled? Do you have a number in regards to that vacancy post?
I don't. I don't have that number. What I do know is that even in March, April, schools were still advertising. Schools were still advertising for teachers, which is to suggest that they are struggling. And from visiting schools, I know that some schools have done really well, and they've very creative, or educating, and the education system adapts well. So you would find, for example, I've been to schools where a teacher who is hired to teach HFLE is teaching social studies, right? So the principals will find creative ways to ensure that they're covering the subjects and try their best to replace the teachers over time. But I don't have that number. I know that some schools have also brought back, and the ministry was trying to bring back teachers who were recently retired. Probably the most the riskiest of the strategies, which has long-term implications, is bringing student teachers who are still doing their studies in their final year of study into the classroom on a full-time basis, because they have not completed their studies, but then they basically transition into working as full-time teachers. So all of these strategies have worked to, I would say, for the most part, to ensure coverage. But then, because you're doing it on the fly, you're not necessarily having the best suited professionals in the appropriate teaching the appropriate subjects. So there is a lot of that happening in the system, where the administrators are creatively solving the problem. But we yes, eventually this will catch up with us. Now, I made the point earlier that we don't know who is leaving, we don't know what subject areas and so on. So part of managing the movement of teachers is to ensure that that system is in place. And that would also answer your question. Of those who have left, how many have been replaced, and have a profile of who is replacing those whom we're losing. But I don't have that information. I don't know if the ministry does.
Yes, because why I asked that question, recently we've been seeing, videos, highlighting students from high school not being able to count. and we see where our CXC numbers are way down in terms of percentage passing. So, I mean, I'm just wondering if where they're getting the teachers from, because it's not just last year, it's been an ongoing, period of time where our teachers or better teachers are leaving the country for greener pastures.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you can fast track teachers over a 1 year period, because I think that a teacher, time being trained up is somewhere between 3 and 4 years before they really graduate and come into the system as professional teachers.
Yeah.
So I am looking at it from that point of view, where that is a result why we are seeing our students not up to par with their education in terms of where they are in their,
So
time in school.
yeah, so melting pot, you're onto something. Look, what last week, if you'd have seen the party, we put out a statement because we heard the assessment data from, in this case, it was Pembroke Hall High School. 70% of the students were unable to read or were reading at or below grade 3. We're talking about grade 7 students at high school reading at or below grade 3 level. Unacceptable. It's disgraceful, actually, right? So that kind of problem in the system. It's not a one-off thing. It's not a Pembroke Hall thing. We also heard last year about Holy Trinity. Every year or so, a school makes the news. But there are many others struggling with the same issue. And so the problem is a problem which starts much earlier. We've said as a party that we intend to invest in early learning, early childhood. Those children who are in grade 7, they would have entered the education system around 2016. Yes, 9 years in the system. They started around the same time this administration first took office. They had 2 years of early childhood, 6 years of primary, and now they're in the first year of secondary, 9 years. Unacceptable, therefore, that you've spent 9 years and then you're not reading. It's not that you're reading below your grade level. You're reading 4 years. You're 4 years behind where you should be, right? So we have to invest early. We have to make sure children are learning to read. We have to make sure the specialists are in the system. We have to make sure that the classrooms and the resources they need are there and are conducive for their learning. We have said as a party that we will ensure every child has access to at least one meal, one hot meal during the school day. We are also going to ensure that each child has access to transportation to get to school. All right, as at least those that are in the more who are furthest from their schools and more difficult to get to school. These things not only take pressure off the families, it makes the child's experience at school very, very different. And then we have to focus on reading, we have to focus on literacy and numeracy. And that means the specialists that are required need to be put in the system. And we also have to make sure that the teachers are trained to teach reading, especially in those primary years, right? The teaching of reading as separate from having a reading session or a reading class, the teaching of reading, which is something that I know schools are struggling with, and we have to deal with that. But if you mess up those early years, then the children are playing catch up for the rest of their lives. It's remediation thereafter. And while remediation can fix some of the problems, what you want to do is to prevent it from happening, right? So hats off to the high schools that are catching the problem at grade 7. But we need to ensure that it does not get over into high school. We need to catch those issues at grade 1, grade 2, because in those first 3 years, you're learning to read. After that, you should be reading to learn, right? There should be a shift in how you're focusing on your reading. And so the system needs support. And we are committed and are committing ourselves as a government to ensure that we deal with this issue once and for all.
Okay, thank you. And I leave another member of the panel to ask questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Green. Well said. Daisy, have anything you want to ask Mr. Russell? Or?
Thanks, Anne Marie, and to everybody on the panel. Good evening, Pink Skew. It's my pleasure meeting you for the first time. Melting Pot, good to see you, Brother Rattigan. You're the OG, and Dr. Russell. Welcome to this space. Welcome to this space, and thank you for taking, and to everybody in the chat, a blessed good evening. Much love to all of you. So, Dr. Russell, thank you for offering yourself up for service. Becoming a public servant is not an easy task. It's something that one has to enter into with a lot of thought about what it is that they want to do, not for themselves, but on behalf of the people that they intend to represent and work for, not the other way around. They are not working for you, you are working for them.
Yes.
Now, that said, you touched on reading. And before I ask the question, when and why was reading removed from schools, especially primary schools, let me preface it by saying this. When I was growing up, reading was fundamental at the basic and the primary level, especially. And after a reading session, this is the line that followed from. These are the things that you had to do or that was done after a reading session. You had spelling. After spelling, you had to do words and their meanings. After that, you had comprehension. After comprehension, you had composition writing. So reading did not take place in a vacuum. Now, children who were exposed to reading, and I remember Mrs. Williams, my teacher, who I was able to read from, I was yay high because both my parents were teachers. So my father I didn't get a doll. We didn't get things to play with. My brothers didn't get guns to play with, toy guns. We got a chalkboard with the timetable. That's what we got. My mom was a Jamal teacher, so we had the Jamal books. So you see, I could read from, I was yay high. I was teaching my parents to read from basic school. Now, most persons growing up then were able to do that because that was a part of the home structure, even in homes where parents and grandparents were not literate. The children and the grandchildren were, because of the system that was in place in the school system. Yeah. Now, my question to you, how will a PNP administration go back to implementing a comprehensive reading program that encapsulates all those aspects? It was not only just calling words, especially in a time where everything is technologically driven. So now the reading program that worked in the 70s and 80s and stuff has to now be tailored to a technological, to meet the technological age. So my question to you is, how is that, before you answer the how of the PNP administration implementing that, I would like to know, and I think we all would like to know, when and why was reading removed from the primary school curriculum, given that it is so fundamental?
Yeah. So the first question, when and why? The way the new curriculum was designed was to integrate. So you have language arts, and within language arts, you have all the different aspects integrated, right? So this integrated approach, it included reading. What it does, though, is that the focus which you're speaking of would not have been as much or as strong as obviously we're finding out now that it needs to be. When you look at a lot of and it's not a Jamaica only situation. I've seen my previous role was head of primary education, global primary education for UNICEF. And what we saw is that a lot of countries were doing this. They were trying to, there's a lot of pressure on school systems to simplify the curriculum and to streamline the curriculum. And that tends to lead to some of these subject areas getting either removed or, packaged, integrated into one. And I think in Jamaica's case, that's what happened with this current curriculum. I think this curriculum is around 2011, 2012. So it's there. It's that what's lacking is the focus. And so part of the solution, given the situation we're seeing, is to pull it out, to give it that emphasis, and to ensure, certainly for us, ensure that it's a phonics-based approach, because that, the science suggests, is the most effective way to do it. Now, that has to be coupled with ensuring that the teachers are equipped and the teachers know how to actually teach reading, and that is going to require some significant amount of work. Now, the question as to the PNP administration and how we address or we deal with the challenges regarding reading. So it's the things I spoke about, of course, those are important because the whole ethos, I guess, around schooling and education needs to shift. But secondly, and probably more specific to the question, at the moment, the curriculum, you cannot access the rest of the curriculum if you can't read. And so putting a lot more emphasis on reading and making sure that all children are able to is a non-negotiable, because then the other things, it opens up other worlds. So in those early years, we have to strip back the curriculum. We have to reduce the number of subject areas that are going to be offered. We have to look at that. That's what the best practices suggest works more effectively. So stripping it back, making sure that the children and make sure the teachers have the capacity to support it. And then for those who are further along in the system, if you're already in grade 7, we don't intend to give up on you. If you're in grade 8, we don't intend to give up on you. That's where the remedial work needs to take place. And that we also have some really good practices in the system, which are focused on, again, making sure that the number of subjects that you're doing are less, and making sure within those subjects you're teaching reading across the curriculum as they refer to it. There is a discussion. I don't think this is a settled position, but also we have to look back at automatic promotion and whether the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. We really need to ensure that we're not just passing students through the system, and that we're using, because we have a really strong, at least structurally, a strong assessment system. We have a grade 1 individual learning profile where we are able to get a sense of the child as he or she transitions into grade 1. And then at grade 3, there's a diagnostic test. At grade 4, there's another assessment. And then, of course, it contributes to the PEP, grade 5, and grade 6. If we're truly using assessment to improve learning, then we would know almost on a year-to-year basis how each child is doing. And so that's where the technology can help us, right? That's where technology helps us to assess and support the students. And then to the other side of your question, how do we now structure the support that the child needs so that they can take advantage of the various devices that are available? And so that's the work that we intend to do to ensure that we're not assessing to see what is happening. We're assessing in order to improve our practices and to guide how we support each child as they go forward. But we know that we cannot be a productive society. We're not going to get to the high levels of productivity which we crave if we continue to have the levels of literacy and numeracy, and it starts at the earliest level. So we have to invest there, and parents, communities have to also play a significant role on all counts. So it's the technology we have to take care of, but also making it home-based and personal again. We have to ensure that we don't lose that, because that matters in the grand scheme of things.
Sorry, first let me give my apology in terms of my lateness. Let me apologize for that, but that was definitely out of my control. But anyway, the energy still has to go on. Again, Dr. Kenneth Russell, I want to say big thanks for you to make it on Mystic Sensation, right? Okay. I want to make sure that all persons on the panel, right, has his or her question that the pose. I was told that Pinks not yet ask a question. So Pinks, just go ahead, ask a question, and then I will speak to Dr. Kenneth Russell. Go ahead, Pinks.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Russell. Welcome to the platform. Okay. Basically, I just want to add some information before I ask my question. According to a report that came out of the Caribbean Center of Educational Planning, 49%, as on March 3rd this year that this report came out, 49% of our teachers have migrated. There's almost 50% of our teachers that left our training institutions here have migrated. So that's the number out there. Anyway, my mother was a teacher in Jamaica, and she migrated because of the low pay. And that is the main reason why most teachers migrate, because of the low wages here. Now, my point or my question is this, or my suggestion is this: when we get into government, what I would like to see done is a school allocated for the gifted students. You mentioned true students are being assessed from grade 1, but one of the things that I keep seeing every year is the restriction to a person's ability to advance because of their age. The exams that we take to go into high school is age. There's an age limit or age requirement. If a student can take the exam before they reach the required age, they should be allowed to be fast tracked through the system. I fell victim to that, and I remember in my years getting ready for high school, it was kind of getting boring sitting around in the classroom, not having anything to challenge me. And we have schools here for the deaf, we have schools here for the blind, we have schools here for the physically challenged, but we still don't have any schools for people who are gifted mentally or intellectually, people with high IQ. And this might push people who have high IQ to go overseas and contribute to the brain drain. So I would like to know if the PNP have any plans for changing the system that we have now to allow students who have high IQs to be more advanced and to create a school environment for them to thrive and be challenged.
Yeah. So the PEP, I know the only exam I'm aware of which has that age restriction is the PEP.
It should be removed. I think it should be removed.
Yeah. Well, the pros and the cons, I guess we have to weigh those. But what I do take the point, certainly once you get to secondary, you have flexibility. You can start taking those CSEC exams, as early as you see fit. Some schools have restrictions, but that becomes an issue that the schools manage. But it doesn't take away from your I think your larger point of the need for spaces for children who are gifted. And some schools, if you're, there's this concept of targeted instruction, which basically suits what you're speaking to. So it can happen within the same space. If you are able to group children based on ability, then those who are gifted will also find themselves grouped in that way. But yes, we do need that space. It's a suggestion which I'll take forward. But again, every school will have students with special abilities, and we also have to just make sure that we're facilitating that as much as possible within the various school environments. It is frustrating because just as it is frustrating for children who have developmental delays and children who are slow learners, it is also frustrating for those who really want to go at a faster pace. And so they then also become involved in activities that are counterproductive. So it's something that definitely has to be addressed. I will take this forward for further discussion. I don't think we have a settled position on this at the moment.
Okay.
All right. You finish your question, Pinks?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Russell, let us interrupt because I want to get into your constituency. I know you would have canvassed your constituency. We are actually, a month or 2 months away from the general election, and the electorate want to know how you are doing. We want to know, as a matter of fact, we want that seat, So we want that seat, and we want to have you, right, seated in Parliament, because as it relates to the People's National Party and right the hybrid candidates that the People's National Party absorbed, we can see that the party deals with meritocracy, right, and putting people who are qualified, putting people who are competent, putting people who are going to do the solid political representation. So let me just do a deep dive in your constituency as it relates to your canvassing. Tell us how confident you are as it relates to you taking home, right, this seat for the People's National Party, and tell us some of the pocketbook issues in your constituency where, majority of the people are not being politically represented, and your leadership will offer that. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. We're excited. I thought you were going to give us the date because you said we're a month out. So, I was, getting ready to run off and talk to my team. But anyway, we're very confident. When you look at what happened, and it's a year since the local government elections. Before the local government elections, we had 3 of the 4 divisions. We won the 4th, and we won all 4. In fact, 4 of the 5 divisions in the St. Anne Parish Council, which are held by the PNP, are from Southeast St. Anne. Our margin over the JLP in terms of total votes was over 2,300. And the total votes we got, around 6,700, is more than we got in the general election in 2020. So what we're seeing in the constituency, a re-engagement, a strong even resurgence, I would say, of the party, really strong support from all areas around the constituency. So I am very confident that we're going to win, and that our margins are going to be significant. I don't want to put any numbers, but big margins. We are very confident. We also are mindful that Southeast St. Anne, we like to think of it as the heart of the People's National Party. We've never been lost in a competitive election to the Labour Party, and so we don't intend for that to change. We intend to ensure that whomever their candidate is given a political burial in this general election. That's plain and simple what we're going after. The issues, the pocketbook issues.
Yes.
We have an economy that is not, the people are not feeling on the ground. the people are struggling. And when you look at all that has happened and the failure of the government to respond, we were talking earlier. Ratigan had asked about the effect of burial and the suggestions that were made and so on. But if you look at what has happened since and the absence of interventions that could truly change the lives of people or help them to recover quickly, it just hasn't taken place, right? So the economy, even though some of the macro indicators might look good, it's not trickling down. It's not reflected in what people are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the young people in the constituency are looking for meaningful work, and so you find that they want, unlike the popular narrative, a lot of young people want to work. They want to ensure that the work that they do, however, is meaningful and that they're able to earn a livable wage, right? And that's not happening at the moment. We have serious issues with roads. Our roads are improving, but not in the best of conditions. I know people are struggling with those. There are sections of the constituency where it will be much easier to move around, to go to jobs. There are young people who can't take jobs on the coast if you're living in Blackstonedge, or if you're living in 9 Miles or Matney. Difficult to take a job on the coast because the cost is prohibitive. If you're earning just above the minimum wage and you have to spend half of that on transportation for the week, it's better not to do it. At least that's the analysis that they've done. So we have to look at that. We have the issues we're just talking about around education and the development of our human resources, to me, is priority number one, because we are losing a lot of our young people who exit the system, and then they realize that they're not able to hold down the kinds of jobs, and they are not able to access tertiary education. It has this ripple effect. And so for me, that has to be given a very, very high priority. Ensuring that children are reading and learning while they're in school, ensuring that they're getting the 5 CXCs that are required to matriculate, and which is entry-level requirement as well for most jobs, as well as supporting young people with opportunities to start their own businesses, expand businesses if they have them, because we know our people are creative and so on. And that's how we're going to drive not just interest in economic activities, but also more of our young people wanting to stay, wanting to build their country. Farming, most of the constituency, it's still the largest means of income, means of income for people in the constituency. And so I will invest in that, and especially in the use of technology. We do well in some pockets, like in Walker's Wood and so on, but that needs to be expanded and to other areas of the constituency. What now seem to be basic technologies like greenhouses, we have to invest in that, given what is happening with climate change and so on. So I'm excited about what that will look like, because we have lots of lands that are sitting idly, either mined or waiting to be mined, and that's something that we really have to look at. Two other quick thing. One is on the social side. Daisy was asking about the use of technology earlier on. A lot of our young people are not getting the opportunities to socialize. So if you're in Moneeg, it's be great if you can go up to Matney on a Sunday afternoon for some football or some cricket, or if you're in Miland, it'd be great for you to then go to 9 Mile on an afternoon. But the opportunities are just not there. So we have to invest more in our community centers and make sure that there's an annual program of sports and the arts and so on, where young people can engage. These intercommunity activities will allow us to, to get off the devices, get out of our homes, and go and see and do things. But it's not unrelated to the condition of the roads. It's not unrelated to some of the other economic challenges that I spoke about. And then the final point to make here is our communities, the organizations that used to drive our communities, they're not there as much as they used to. They're not as strong. They're not as many. They're not as strong as they used to be. And so my aim is to ensure that every community has at least one registered entity. And that's for multiple purposes. It's related to the social aspect, which I just spoke about, because the community organizations, they will drive these things. They will create events and so on. But there are also resources which come into communities through these organizations, which would make the life and the work of the Member of Parliament much easier. And so as a party, we have been clear that we want the Social Development Commission to go back to what it used to be and what we think it needs to be in order to fulfill its mandate. Because the work of strengthening these community entities and building community organizations is the work of the Social Development Commission, which of course, as you know, is a PNP policy. We want communities to be strong, and the organization with that responsibility is the Social Development Commission. We have to give it the resources to serve our communities and to help them to get stronger. So that's something that's a party position, and I intend to have that reflected as well in what happens in the constituency.
Well said. Really love it. I'm not going to exceed your time any longer, but let me just ask you the final question as it relates to your reasons in terms of the electorate. I want you to tell the electorate, right, why it is important, right, to have you in as member of parliament, future member of parliament, right? So speak to the electorate and tell them why they need to vote for you, and in extension, vote for the People's National Party.
All right, thank you. So let me heal up everybody across Southeast Time. I don't know, the love is strong and unbreakable, unshakable. I want to say hello to the councillors. We have 4 amazing councillors: Garrick in Money, Comrade Harty in Claremont, Comrade Bell in Beechertown, and Comrade Gohagan in the Bensington division. I, as the candidate, want to be, not just want to be your member of parliament, but want to be a member of parliament who's going to be working with you in partnership. This is my home. It's where I'm from. I've had the privilege of living and working elsewhere, but I've always come back home, and my heart has always been at home. I know the issues. I've lived the issues, right? So nobody needs to translate and interpret the issues that happen in this constituency to me. I am one who has been nurtured by some of you. I'm one who is related to a lot of you. And so this is a personal connection which I have with this constituency, and one which I think will drive me and drive the work that we will do together. I believe in presence. I believe in collaborative work, and I know that together we can transform this constituency. So a vote for me is a vote to ensure that we do the work necessary to make the lives of our people much, much better. And of course, we win again. We also cause a ripple effect across the country and ensure that Mark Golding, a man who we know is going to have the people at the center of his policies. We're not into a term for ourselves and our cronies and then a term for the people. No, every day, every minute, it's about the people, it's about you. And so we intend to ensure that a Mark Golding-led administration is one that is accountable to the people, and one that will uphold the principles of our institutions, especially those that are responsible for transparency and those that are going to ensure that we remain strong as a country. So with that, again, I ask for your support, and I know that we're going to do amazing work together.
All right. And what you said, honesty and integrity matters. And that is your focus. Dear people, electorate, there you have it. Right? Dr. Kenneth Russell, right? Please make sure to put the X beside the head. You understand? We are telling them plain. Right? So electorate, there you have it. Right? I mean, very sharp, very articulate, and trust me, right? We are looking forward to have Dr. Kenneth Russell representing us in Parliament. And as what he said, right, honesty and integrity matters. Dr. Kenneth Russell, I want to say a big thanks for making it Mystic Sensation. And please don't be a stranger. We're looking forward to talk to you again. All right.
Same. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Ratigan, and hit up everybody in Manig. Make sure they do what needs to be done. All right.
Thank you.
Blessed up,
right.
Have a blessed evening.
Blessings. Have a wonderful.
Before you go into the program, so guys, I have pinned the link to the Magnitsky Act. I got tongue-tied earlier, I didn't say it properly. So the link to the Magnitsky Act is pinned. So those who have not yet signed on, please go and do so. It's very important.
Well, people, you know, Brother Ratigan, Melting Pot, Pinks, Daisy Magazine, a bang around tonight, you know. Look here, I want to tell you something, Brother Ratty. It seems like them when they work them vung, you know, make me come here already, you know. But me they tell you something, sir. Christopher Tufton, Vungo can't stop me. And Andrew Holness Vungo can't stop me. So we are going to do, no, let me say this to my Jamaican people. The healthcare system is in a crisis, a deep crisis. And what caused the crisis? Nepotism, cronyism, and outright pilfering from our treasury. I am going to expose some information here as it relates to a permanent secretary. And let me give the background. The Jamaica Labour Party administration, Brother Ratigan and panel, Melting Pot, Sister Daisy, Pinks, had ensured that they made a permanent secretary exited the island. A lot of people are not talking about it. They ensured that a particular permanent secretary exited the island, and what they do in secrecy is to put in another permanent secretary as it relates to the Ministry of Health. I am going to show you the evidence. We are going to get down into it tonight. And one of the reasons why that permanent secretary exited the island, because that permanent secretary cannot explain the billions of dollars. As a matter of fact, that particular permanent secretary, right, as it relates to misappropriation of billions of dollars that he cannot explain. And so they have him exited the island. But we are going to deal with that tonight. Let us, with the first document, let us pick up that. Let us pick up this.
No cover-ups, just the truth. This is Jamaican Focus, bringing you the facts, exposing the lies, because Jamaica deserves answers.
Wagwan, Jamaica. Marcus here with another episode of Jamaica in Focus. Today, we're diving into an eye-opening article from the Jamaica Observer titled, Taking Corruption to Another Level. This article exposes a troubling history of corruption within the Jamaica Labour Party spanning decades. But here's the thing. The article stops at 1990. So we did what we always do. We went deeper. And what we found was a disturbing pattern that stretches from the 1950s straight to 2025. Let's rewind the tape. In 1951, Josie Malcolm, JLP, Minister of Education, sentenced to 12 months at hard labor for defrauding constituents. 1954, L.L. Simmons, convicted under the Official Secrets Act. 1965, Arthur Burt fled the island just before facing a commission investigating school construction corruption. 1990, Jag Smith, former labor minister, jailed for stealing $70,000 US from farm workers' savings. Our review shows this wasn't isolated, it's systemic. Now, fast forward to the present. In 2018, Petro Jam. Millions vanished. Former chairman Dr. Percival Bahato Singh was charged after submitting false claims. General manager Floyd Grindley was also named in the audits over questionable contracts and spending. 2019, CMU. Nearly $50 million misused. Former Education Minister Ruel Reed, his wife and daughter, along with CMU President Fritz Pinnock, were all charged with fraud and corruption. What happened to those charges? 2020, NESOL. Former engineer Lawrence Pommels was convicted after millions were paid out with no contracts in place. 2023, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, former House Speaker, charged for filing false statutory declarations. 2024, Leslie Campbell, ex-MP, found guilty for failing to comply with the Integrity Commission's disclosure request. 2023, the Integrity Commission flagged potential conflicts of interest involving the Prime Minister. No charges laid yet, but laws were clearly bypassed. Our review shows the Commission couldn't certify his declarations from 2019 to 2022, citing undeclared accounts and shady company links. They referred the case to the FID and TAJ, but instead of cooperating, the Prime Minister launched a judicial review. He tried to strike down Section 14, subsection 5 of the Corruption Prevention Act, the very clause that deals with illicit enrichment. He argued it unfairly shifts the burden of proof to him, but the court said no. They refused to compel the commission to certify him, though they allowed him to challenge the findings. And now he's heading into another election, with his declaration still uncertified. Different faces, same party, same script. From Joe Malcolm to NESOL, from 1951 to now, the pattern is clear. Corruption thrives when leaders feel untouchable, and the people stay silent. So, Jamaica? What now? We've shown you the receipts to cross 7 decades. We've asked the hard questions. Where's the justice? Where's the accountability? They've tried to dodge the courts, the press, and sometimes even the truth. But the one thing they can't dodge is you. Every dollar stolen is a clinic not built, a child left behind, a road never repaired. Just look at Cornwall Regional Hospital. The government started renovations back in 2016 to fix toxic air and ventilation issues. It was supposed to cost $2 billion. Today, it's ballooned to over $21 billion, and the hospital still isn't fully reopened. That's nearly a decade of patients diverted, services delayed, lives affected. This isn't just mismanagement. It's a breakdown of trust. And the people are the ones who pay the price.
2 billion to 21 billion. That's where we are focusing tonight. And the big question that I am going to ask the Jamaica Labour Party, and as a matter of fact, for all the naysayers, as it relates to what I had just displayed, anyone who wants to say, to have any argument saying that the PNP and GLP are the same, I want them to go into the entire political history, right? And publicly state it, where you have any members of the People's National Party are put through the judiciary and sent to prison. What I presented is a history of the pilferists in the Jamaica Labour Party, right? That have gone through the system, and where you have more than 7 of them. And trust me, as it relates to Andrew Holness's administration, Believe you me, it's hell to pay. Now let me ask the question, and let me ask the JLP this question. Where is Dunstan Bryan? I am asking it loud tonight. Where is Dunstan Bryan? Dunstan Bryan is not on the island. Look where I'm going, people. Just wait. I am asking the question, where is Dunstan Bryan? Dunstan Bryan exited the island as a result of him lack the information in terms of speaking on the appropriation account. And where Dunstan Bryan, as a permanent secretary, paid to submit the appropriation account for more than 9 years, Dunstan Bryan had failed to submit the appropriation account report that will speak on all expenditures. Dunstan Bryan failed to establish that. Now, people, let us get into the next clip. Let us get there.
Just toured right in front of me, where we just toured, is a Cornwall Regional Hospital, which is going to be refurbished and become another state-of-the-art health facility. The two combined will create synergies like never before. So you're going to have in St. James an economy around healthcare, which is going to revolutionize how we deliver healthcare services, quality of healthcare that we deliver, and the accessibility to healthcare. This is one example of how infrastructure investment is going to improve your quality of life. Now, again, I want to bring the public into the understanding of the magnitude of what we're doing. At once, we decided that we would relocate the operations of Cornwall Regional Hospital to facilitate the rehabilitation of Cornwall Regional Hospital. So we're doing rehabilitation, we're doing relocation, and we are operating a hospital on the premises whilst we are doing the improvements. And then in addition to that, we have taken on the construction of an entirely new facility. It should be acknowledged for what it is, that it is a phenomenal undertaking by the government of Jamaica.
Take it away, honey. What we want to tell the Jamaican people, that the GLP, Jamaica Labour Party government, strapped for money to complete Cornwall Regional Hospital. Right? Strapped for money because the pilferists, right, have the load of cash in their pocket. Let us get to the Jamaica Observer, right, and show what is going on. And then we're going to get into the heart of things here. Let us show Jamaica that basically, here is the evidence, strap for cash. Contractor warns of possible 5 months pushback. We know that within the next 5 months, the Jamaica Labour Party is not going to be in power. And so then, this is where it's at as it relates to the People's National Party. A new administration will take over this. But I am saying to the People's National Party, prior in taking over, right, ensure that a forensic audit being done as it relates to where I'm going tonight. Now, let us just give the heading here. Montego Bay St. James, there is possibility of yet another delay in completing the massive overhaul being done at Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay. Work was expected to be completed on the main building by April, part of phase completion. But that deadline appears to be slipping. Take it away. Now, only let us go for this document. Let me show people what is going on. Let us look at the permanent secretaries. We want to show people that they take their time and exit Mr. Dunstan, the permanent secretary. So I'm going to put up the entire permanent secretary file for you to see it, that he is not a part of it. Now let us find that and show the people. Let us find that and show the people. Here it is, people. All the permanent secretaries, right? Now, Cabinet Secretary, Permanent Secretary, and Head of the Public Service, Honorable Audrey Sewell, right? Permanent Secretary and Ambassador Plenipotentiary with responsibility, Ambassador Rocky Mead, Permanent Secretary and Head of the Foreign Service, Ambassador Sheila Monteith, Financial Secretary, Miss Darlene Morrison. The name that we are looking for is Dunstan Brand. Permanent Secretary, Miss Sanika Bennett Templar, right? Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Permanent Secretary, Miss Jennifer Griffith, CD, Minister of Tourism. Permanent Secretary, Mistress Marsha Henry Martin, Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Diane Jennings, Minister of Labour and Social Security. Permanent Secretary, Ms. Carol Palmer, Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunication and Transport. Permanent Secretary, Mr. Denzel Tarp, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. Permanent Secretary, Mr. Dermot Spence, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Hope Gardens. All right. Permanent Secretary, Mr. Errol Green, Ministry of Health and Wellness. Here is Dunstan Brand. Yes. What happened to Dunstan Brand? See the people? Dunstan Brand was the permanent secretary, right, for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And as a result of the Auditor General, do our deep dive, done our deep dive, and explain how much billions of dollars missing under the Ministry of Health. Dunstan Bryan take away himself. Dunstan Bryan take away himself. People, let me show you the evidence that Dunstan Bryan was there. Let us go to the Jamaica Gleaner. Let us go to the Jamaica Gleaner. We want to show the people the evidence. What happened to Dunstan Bryan? Where is Dunstan Bryan? I am getting information that is in the States. He is in United States. So let us show the document. Dunstan E. Bryan show that he was the permanent secretary. And where the Jamaica Labour Party government, here these people, see the evidence here? Dunstan E. Bryan, CD, Public Health Executive with Social Protection and Public Financial Management background and implementation experience. See here, people? Ministry of Health and Wellness. Ministry of Health and Wellness. Let us take away that. Now, Dunstan Bryan, take time missing. Let us go to investigation as related to the Auditor General. And see why Dunstan Bryan take himself and the GLP allow him to exit. The heart of corruption in the people. Here it is. Health Ministry faces increased pressure to show how $830 billion was spent. When you come here, people. When you come to Jamaica, we could get into it. Our healthcare is in crisis because of pilfering. Nothing else. Now, we can get into this now, my people. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is facing more heat as its level of tardiness has increased this year, owing to its failure to present appropriation account for 11 years to the Auditor General Department for scrutiny. You hear that, people? Jamaica people. You hear that? Don't stand Brian for himself. Now what is it? Now, this published January 15, 2025, people. Let me read it back over again. We want the entire electorate to look on this, You know what's this? Don't stand Brian, get up and lift up. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is facing more heat as its level of tardiness has increased this year, owing to its failure to present appropriation account for 11 years to the Auditor General Department for scrutiny, people. Dunstan Brian can't submit the audit, the appropriation account. I can read it, people. I can read it. Over the 11-year period, 2013 to 2015, 2023 to 2024, Parliament approved what? 829.6 billion of taxpayers' money, or 10.8% of the national budget, people, for the management and administration of the health sector by the ministry. Last year, the Greener reported that taxpayers and the Parliament were unable to assess how the ministry spent nearly 700 million people in public resources over a 10-year period, owing to a failure by the then accounting officer who? Dunstan Brian. By who? Dunstan Brian. To do what? To submit the appropriation accounts to the Auditor General. Brian has since gone off on study leave. Study leave where? Study leave where? Use that now to make him exit. And nobody can question him. I'm showing the level of corruption in the Jamaica Labour Party. The level of corruption. Nepotism, cronyism, and skullduggery. Come on, the pressure from the Auditor General. We are supposed to submit the appropriation account. But to take himself, send down and study leave, and then now slowly, secretly, pushing greener than green in there. No, people, more can need to dig this in. Under the Financial Administration and Audit Act, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis is required to audit the appropriation, and that's why look here, and that's why the pressure coming down, right? And Pamela Monroe Ellis will dig up them something here, because the Jamaica Labour Party is saying that Pamela Monroe Ellis shouldn't touch them something here. No. Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis is required to audit the appropriation accounts and give an opinion on whether the money expended has been used for the purpose for which it was approved, and verify whether the expenditure exceeds the amount authorized. However, Monroe Ellis highlighted that up to the time of reporting, the Health Ministry did not return or submit for audit scrutiny, right? 23 appropriation accounts for financial year 2013 go way back up until 2024. No appropriation account. No appropriation account, people. This is madness. Now I'm going to read that. In December 2023, the accounting officer at the MOHW submitted 15 of the 21 outstanding appropriation accounts for financial year 2023, right to 2013 to 2023. However, Monroe Ellis said that the accounts did not meet the standards for submission as set out in Section 8, Section 17, and 6, 1 and 2 of the financial instructions. You hear that, people? You hear them something there? He said the chief audit executive did not sign off on the appropriation accounts report submitted due to material inaccuracies. People, hey, look here, people. See it here? We want the electorate right, to use them cranium as it relates to Jamaica Labour Party level of corruption. She said the chief audit executive did not sign off on the appropriation accounts report submitted due to what? Material inaccuracies. Additionally, 2 of the appropriation accounts were not accompanied by the required statement of explanation for causes of variances. And when we say variances, simply means the billions of dollars that cannot accounted for. That is what variances mean, people. See the right in front of us? 2 of the appropriation accounts, people, were not accompanied by the required statement of explanation for cause of variances. As a result, the reports were returned to the ministry for correction and resubmission. Now, I'm looking at people. Whether you want to find it said invoice missing and whatever missing or certain things missing, the level of, you understand, incompleted documents that submitted cannot verify the variances. Now, Manuel Ellis said the ministry has since advised that it is working with the internal audit unit to ensure the accuracy of the outstanding appropriation accounts and their submission to the Auditor General by March 31, 2025. Let me tell you something, Jamaican people. They did the gun. They did the gun. And no appropriation account being submitted as we speak. And as a matter of fact, it is not only the Ministry of Health is affected, it affected other ministries as well, which now speaks to Andrew Wallace's leadership. And this appropriation account, as it relates to the Ministry of Health, speak to Christopher and Andrew Wallace's leadership. They know what they are doing. They know what they are doing. Cornwall Regional Hospital that started at 2 billion now seems to be exceeding 21 billion. And regardless of what Tufton wants to spin it and say, no, they must spend 21 billion. Right? It's a trajectory and railway, blah, blah, blah. Right? And only 9 billion. Peer answer, peer conundrum. The FFA Act requires accounting officers to prepare and submit to the Minister and the Auditor General the appropriation account, setting out the expenditure for the year against the approved budgetary allocation 4 months after the fiscal year. And people, let me say this, let me add this. It is every year, you know, that the appropriation account supposed to be submitted, you know, people. Every year, you know. Every year. And you're going to tell me that Andrew Holness, Nigel Clark, Christopher Tufton, and all those ministries that been affected as it relates to not submitting the appropriation account to explain to taxpayers what happened to taxpayers' money. This is a kleptocratic government, you know, people. Now, the Auditor General reminded the Health Ministry of the need to implement proper systems that will ensure the accounts are prepared and what? Submitted. She said management has affirmed its commitment that with a now fully staffed final accounts unit, the ministry will ensure that the appropriation accounts are submitted by the stipulated timeline going forward. Well, Pamela, as we speak, that has not been done. Remember that Fairval came out and said, as it relates to $3 trillion unaccounted for, it is not that $3 trillion unaccounted for, is that certain ministries have not submitted. You know what? Take this tongue. Let me talk to Brother Rattigan. I'm talking to Brother Ratty. Now, Brother Ratty, let me talk to you. Do you remember when Fairval Williams came out, sir, and said that $3 trillion, right, is not missing or unaccounted for. The reason for that was to the fact that many ministries, Mr. Rattigan, have not submitted their appropriation account. Now, remember, you know, and 9 years, the Jamaica Labour Party have been in the office. 9 years, you know, and haven't submitted one appropriation account that's supposed to be submitted annually. And as we speak, Brother Rattigan, no appropriation account has been submitted, and we still have $3 trillion unaccounted for. What say you on this topic, Brother Rattigan?
Sometimes you have to look at the person speaking, and the Minister Fairval Williams, we know that she has been inaccurate on numerous occasions. In fact, she has been a colossal failure everywhere they've put her. Even where she was supposed to have been in the first place, because she has an education in finance, and
yes,
that the natural fit for her would be Ministry of Finance. But we're finding out now that some people just not have it. They just not have it, and she's one of them. No, she did mention that it's because they didn't submit it. There's a second reason provided, and that was they had a new accounting system, and that accounting system, they were trying to get used to it, which is foolishness, because that accounting system was put in for years. And in fact, this same Auditor General commented on it a few years before and said that it was in place. It's a system where the bill you charge the billing, you charge the billing after the delivery, versus you charge the billing once you make the payment without receiving the goods, so that you can balance the books. And they said it was easier. Now, what's so difficult about that? There's nothing difficult about that. Also, you know what I'd like for you to do? I'd like for you to go back to the listing of permanent secretaries.
All right,
Something. Please go back to just go straight to the one for Ministry of Finance. Sorry, Ministry of Health.
Okay, we are coming up with that. Go to
slide on a little bit. There's keep going.
Yes.
Keep going.
Green, I think yeah, there it is. All
right, pass him. Just keep going. Let me see something. Just keep going. Let me see something. Because I thought keep going. I thought I saw one where they say acting.
Yeah, there's an acting.
There was an acting, right?
Yeah.
No, that's the top. There's an acting there. I could swear I saw one that says
there's a female acting one.
In the Ministry of Health?
No. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is, your pastor. Dion something.
Jenny.
Okay. Yes.
What? Yeah, Dion Jennings. All right. You notice something very interesting. Dunstan is away on study leave.
Yes.
Yet go to his position now and see if you see acting there.
Exactly. Ministry of Health and Wellness.
See him there?
Yes.
It tells me he's not coming back.
He's not coming back, Ratty.
Not coming back.
He's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
And the Jamaica people need to have a problem with this.
Yeah, he's not coming back. We have a permanent. He's on study leave, and when you're on study leave, it means you're coming back. You went it's a year or whatever, and you're coming back. Your position is the person who's assumed the role is only acting till you come back. And remember now, there are only so many permanent secretary positions, and that's a powerful position. And that's one of the things I wanted to ask our previous guest about. But be that as it may, the idea that you ask about, the question you ask about the failure to provide the necessary reports over a 10-year period. We know exactly what went on. I mean, we know. That's part of the $3 trillion that JAMP compiled from the reports put out by the Auditor General. That's what it is. And then when somebody like the Honorable Favor Williams come out and make these asinine statements, you have to wonder if this lady is well. And I'll tell you why. Because all you need to do is just look at the Ministry of Education with Dean Roy Bernard, Grace
Yes.
McLean, Royal Reed. And
Yes.
when you look at them, you realize that they paid over 100 million to a company, a company that an advisory board that became privatized. Never hear about this before. The company is there to provide support to the minister, and then all of a sudden, they register under the Companies Act, and now it's a private business. And then the money that's supposed to come to the advisory group has gone to the private group, over 100 million. And even though they told Grace McLean, don't give him any more money, Grace McLean went and gave him another 12 million. And guess what? That money ain't coming back because they should have instituted surcharge action against Grace McLean. And what did they do? They did it late.
Mighty good.
And they can still bring action against that. It's called the Jamaica Tertiary Commission. And they can still bring criminal action against them, but the statute is almost expired.
Yes.
The statute limitations expired. So that money is gone. That money is never ever coming back. So when people tell you about, oh, the money is just that they didn't file the appropriate documentation, but the money is not missing, is lie. Them are telling you. Lie. Maybe a few cases they can say that, but even so, what kind of government here run when for so many years, 10 years, you know, find the documentation? But you know what that tells me? That tells me that people haven't been looking. People haven't been bringing this to the attention of the public. And that's why they feel them can get away with it and do whatever they want to. And so they're shocked. They're stunned now that this revelation is coming out. And they don't know what to do. But you know what? The Jamaican people should never forget things like these. Because like the clip you played, every dollar that goes to corruption, it means that's a dollar less that's going to be spent on education, on health, on infrastructure, on housing, etc. And we must never, ever make this government forget it. Never. So people, the facts are there. They have been presented. Now it's up to you. In a few weeks, we'll see what you're going to do.
All right. Thank you, Brother Ratigan. That's why we are in the space for that. All right. Let me just begin with, let me just jump off with melting pot. We know that the ladies are coming in and we have the ladies warming up, but, you know, we could just jump off the sledge. Sledge!
Yeah, man,
things?
you know.
Talk to us
Things
about
good,
what
you
you
know.
have just here.
Things good, but where we are looking in Jamaica, things very bad.
Yes.
Because as related to the health sector, we see a corruption right across the board, you know. Right across the board, and we are talking about widespread, massive corruption. Now, when you have a guy like Brian, yeah, Dunstan Brian, where him are the man in charge to look over the finance, yeah, and give appropriation account to these ministry.
Yes.
But we see where him in our space at work, so-called work. Because if you not submit nothing over 11-year period, you never work, you know. Basically, you're not doing your job.
It's true.
So how did he hold on that position for such a long time, over a decade? And why was no one else, you know, bringing to light the fact that there is nothing being submitted coming forth from him as the man who responsible to give the submission to the Auditor General? So it shows so well then this is a state-led corruption. Him alone no pull off that. Him could not work without being supervised over a 11-year period. So it shows say, everybody up at the top involved with this man. And now we see where him gone permanently pan study leave because we see where Errol Green replace him. And we know so that replacement is a permanent replacement. So our guy gone pan study leave. You understand? So we are looking at all them things as blatant corruption. When we see with that Labour Party regime government, you know, them are insult the people, them intelligence in Jamaica. Because it look like them have everybody right across the board as dunce and idiot. You understand? So that's why we in the diaspora now have to take up the mantle and open the floodgate of corruption and show Jamaica people. Because we're not supposed to have a situation where $829.6 billion or 10.8% of the national budget, yeah, are for use to patch up a guy corruption. You understand? 700 million in a public resource over 10-year period and all them. Hey, this a madness, you know. This a madness.
Absolutely.
And here is a guy, Christopher Tufton, come and lie to it through him teeth. Sit down in a chair where the last time I see somebody in that chair there, Usain Bolt. In a one little hanky-panky room. Say him a conduct interview with some people who can conduct interview. Him a give interview to people who can conduct interview. Because around there so is a labor right studio, you know. Where them come and fabricate things. Because me hear Tough Tongue talk about some foolishness. Tough Tongue come out and make we know say a drill is not a drill and all them type of thing there. Him make we know say this government don't deal with Google, them deal with science and facts. It's not a Google government, but the world intertwined and linked to Google. So these people are insult to intelligent and we cannot have these people in the space. And right now, Tough Tongue sentence for equivalent to Andrew Wallace sentence.
Definitely.
Them two man, they are the two man who match up Jamaica. You understand? And woman like Flavor Williams, you have to grab she too, because she here and a bet in a whole heap of Andrew criminality. From education, she'll do it. Yeah? Now we see what them want to try discredit Mrs. Pamela Monroe Ellis. Now this is a woman who are working to highlight the high level of corruption as it relates to this kleptocratic government that we have in place. But here is them trying to witch hunt this woman who has over 17 years of highly skilled professional experience as it relates to Auditor General. So I want to know who them want to replace her with. Because them can't bring nobody with the wealth of experience that Mrs. Pamela Monroe possess. And it seems like when Tough Tongue did say him no like Andrew no like bright people round him. It seems like him did know what I say. It look like a peer dunce people Andrew have round him and him want some more dunce. So him want to get rid of bright scholar like Pamela Monroe Ellis. Somebody who will, you know, bring to the table the high level of corruption that is running through all the various ministries. So when Flavor come out and talk about the $3 trillion is not like it missing, is because some documents not submit. Flavor need to go bury herself in a load of you know what. You understand? Because Flavor don't have no credibility from our time in the Ministry of Education. But we see a whole heap of people are defunct from the Labour Party and a runway because them attached to certain high-level criminality as it relates to corruption and theft. And we are asking the question, why are these people allowed to leave? And why there are so many secrets in regard to these people when they leave the post?
Exactly.
Now we have to question the man at the top of the stream, the man at the top of the corruption stream, the man where him say are the ultimate leader. Now, if you come and tell we say our ultimate leader, then we're supposed to see some strong leadership quality coming from on your behalf as the ultimate leader. But when we see this guy is a weak, pathetic leader who is not fit for purpose or surplus requirement because this man is a thief from day one. This man surpassed all of Jamaica criminal them over the years. Nobody in a Jamaica no orchestrate the high level of criminality with. This man here single-handedly put together.
And that
This man has destroyed the entire Jamaica economy. To the fact that the economy grind to a halt. Stand still now move. The man economy going to grow 1% over 9 years, you know. All them 5 and 4 plan gone through the window, and the man where him designate to lead that sector. Him run with to leeching. The finance minister run with to Nigel Clark. And the 5 and 4 plan gone through the window. And you know, you never mention nothing about it. So we are look on this guy that we have where him name not supposed to be on the ballot. Him not supposed to participate in the election. We want to know so well then, you know. As the election call upon the night and the Labour Party leave the political landscape, them to go for Andrew Wallace immediately and detain him. Can we run off? Because the whole of them are run off. We have to detain Andrew, take away him traveling documents, man, him entire family. And all of the minister them around him.
Agree.
A serious, we are reaching a serious time in a Jamaica history, you know. The amount of money where them people are amass in a corruption gain. We can't make them leave the place with it. Because the whole of them are planned for runway. And not 2 years about it, the whole of them are planned for runway. Because them know them in a corruption up to the neck. So we have to make sure no say we have a system in place. These people must not leave the shore of Jamaica. And I yield back the floor to another member of the panel.
All right. Spinks. Run on it, not Spinks.
Oh yeah. Boy, I don't even know where to start. Grace McLean, it was 124 million.
Yes.
She took out of the kitty. Right? Rural Reed. And when we see they had a meeting and Favor Williams and Rural Reed were laughing and chatting as if everything was okay. After our money went missing. And then even after Rural Reed is caught up in this scandal, he wanted to take the government to court for some payment of something or another regarding the school.
Unconscionable.
And I'm wondering, what, you know, these people, do they have any conscience? Are they people? Are they human beings? Because human beings have some empathy, have some love, have some emotion. They look in our eyes every day and just lie.
Yeah.
The same way when you walk on the street and a crackhead come up to you and beg your money and lie about the reason that they want the money is the same way that they lie to us every day. Our leaders are no better than the crackheads on the work on the street corner, you know. And as I keep saying this, you know, we need to take away their travel documents. We just start round them up.
Yeah.
Because Don Crawford left, Paul Chen Young left, others before them left, and every time they do their thing, they just leave and leave us in the mess. I am not leaving Jamaica.
That's what they do.
I choose to live here. And we need to fix this. We need to fix it. And the only way we can fix it and put back confidence in the Jamaican citizens is all of them are arrested, because All of 49 of them over there are complicit.
Exactly.
All the permanent secretaries involved are complicit. How can you have a ministry and you are a permanent secretary and you're supposed to give a report at the end of the year and you have missing documents?
Crazy.
Your job is to tell us how you spend our money. And you cannot give us that information. That means you're not doing your job. Why are you there for 9 years? Why are you there for 2 years? Why are you there for 3 years? Why are you there for 4 years? You are
Exactly.
not doing your job. If you hire somebody in your office to be the accountant and to tell you how your business is running, how much goods is in the storeroom, how much goods went out, how much money you collect, how much money to pay for taxes, how much to pay for overhead, how much to pay the employees. And at the end of the day, the person can't you who you hire as your accountant can't give an account of how the money is spent. Do you keep that accountant in your business? All of us who have business, would you keep an accountant in that business? Employed if the accountant can't give an account of how your money is being spent in your business. It's the same thing. They are our servants. These permanent secretaries need to give an account for every dollar and we need to know how it's spent. And as Usain Bolt said, the syndicate from the top comes straight down, all of them dirty. Because in SSL, the lady who's in prison right now, she is not the only one involved. And the same way how she's not the only one involved, is the same way the permanent secretaries, the ministers who are in charge of the other ministries, all of them are involved. And all of them need them handcuffed and just slam that door on them.
Exactly.
Even if statutory of the time run out on these cases, we need to find some way. There must be somewhere we can make them accountable. Grace McLean, $124 million. Seriously? And then we wonder why the last 9 years our students are sitting on termite infested benches. Why our students can't get one hot meal in the schools? Why they're reading at grade 3 level? Why one generation of children graduating this time or next year from high school cannot read and write? One generation of dunce.
Sad.
One generation. And look at it again. A former minister of education has produced in his lifetime, in his legacy as the prime minister, one generation of dunce children who cannot read. That's the legacy of Andrew Holness. One generation of children. Last time I was here, I said, how are we supposed to employ these children who can only read at grade 3 level and below? Andrew, you produce them, you tell us. How do you employ these children?
Exactly.
I look forward to you, Byron.
All right. Thank you, Sister Things for that. Sister Maria, I mean, what you got on my down in? Sister Maria. Now just imagine don't stand Brian take up himself and gone, right? Because he no one ask him no question, You
Yeah,
understand? But he has been there, right? For how long, right? And no appropriation account is not being submitted. And before, right, as it relates to him, cannot explain it. Him take up himself and gone. And then squeeze in, Mr. Greed, right? because guess what? Mr. Green just new to the post, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know nothing about the corruption what go on there, right? But Johnston, who know about the heart of the corruption and involving vehicle in the corruption, right? Escape the island and claim send the on study leave. What say you, Sister Maria?
I am going to respond to this, but before I do, there's somebody in the chat, Bernard Crawford, who says he's saying that, let me read. He says, Jamaica, wake up, don't be JLP or PMP. Please be a Jamaican, stand up for your rights.
Yes.
But a part of their rights is voting. So they have to vote for one of the two political parties that are there, JLP or PNP. And I would encourage them to vote for policies that work in their best interest. And there are policies that have worked. They can Google it. There are PNP policies and there are JLP policies. They can vote for the PNP policies that work in their best interest. They can look at the extrajudicial killings and think about their brothers and their fathers and their mothers and their sons and the fathers and their sons who are dying at the hands of police because it is being sanctioned by the government. The Prime Minister said, meet a maker or meet a judge. The Minister of National Security says, kill first and then ask questions later. So those are the things you need to vote for. And look at the education system, look at the very healthcare system. So you have to vote, whether or not you like it. It is imperative that they do so. Now, that was a sidebar. Onto this issue. What I've come to realize is that the current government in Jamaica is one that says, believe what I am telling you, not what you are living, what you're experiencing on the ground. Okay. Now, if you should follow that model, then you'll keep following them down the rat hole into dishonesty and deception. Because the Minister of Health on the fix yesterday, he said that, yes, Rattigan.
Hold on, I resemble that remark. Not rat hole, rabbit hole.
I stand correction. Down that rabbit hole. You are correct. Down that rabbit hole of deception and and divisiveness. Gotta love you, my brother. You know? Yeah, but when you think about it, the minister on the fix yesterday, he said that, and Pinky, you said that the JLP, the government is like a crackhead. Don't disrespect crackheads, please, because a crackhead has more integrity, because you know that that's a crackhead. And you know that a crackhead asks you for $1 and say they're going to buy liquor. They're going to buy. So if you give them the $1, then you are the fool. You follow what I'm saying, to buy the food. If they say they want $1 for food, you know they're going to buy crack. So who is the problem here? The crackhead or the person who gives them the $1 for food, and they're going to buy the crack. So I would choose a crackhead over the Andrew Holness administration any day and every day. Okay, moving right along. But seriously, the minister said that there's no crisis in the healthcare system. He also said they come with words in a rescoping. No, it's not a cost overrun. They did some rescoping and they rescope, and when they rescope it going from this, and they didn't spend $24 billion, they spent $9 billion. So he has $15 billion sitting down. Make some sense. Because if you have $15 billion sitting down to fix a hospital, and you need MRIs to work in putting KPH and in Mapen Hospital and in Sablam and all these hospitals, don't you think then you would use some of that money to buy the equipment that are needed right this minute to save the people's lives? To save the lives of. So I don't understand. And somebody please help me out here, because I've never worked in construction. I don't know how that field works. I never built a hospital before. So I don't know how it works in terms of procurement. And when you make these kinds of projections, do you not have to have the money to carry out the work, because work is ongoing? So I don't understand what the minister is trying to say. So somebody has to explain that part of it. How can he say, no, They have, it's not 24 billion that is spent, it's $9 billion. And they have $15 billion sitting down where, I don't know. I need to be educated on that.
Yeah, he needs to
And
show.
what we have seen is that there's no accountability. And here is why what he says cannot be trusted. The Auditor General came out and said $1.3 trillion is unaccounted for. Whether they want to not submit the papers or they're submitting the papers late, but over a 10-year period, and you are telling me that in 2025, you still cannot come to a place where there is some resolution as to what happened to that $1.3 million that no one knows has gone with the wind. But here is the problem now. The money cannot be accounted for. You say it's not stolen. Why are the hospitals broken? Why are the schools broken? Why, when you look at the environmental sector, why are there problems there? Because the majority of the money between three ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, and the Office of the Prime Minister. So let's focus on the Ministry of Health and Education. Why then are these systems broken if the money is not really unaccounted for, not stolen, but just that the paperwork has not come in? Why is it that you cannot look at these buildings and say, yes, the money was spent on Jack's school or that hospital? Why can't they look at it and see that? So there's some disconnect there. The level of accountability in the Jamaican political system and the governance structure is mind-boggling. And when you ask questions, you hear that you're a bad mind. You cannot bad mind the own taxpayers for taxpayers' money. That makes no sense. Because this is not money that comes out of the pocket of any public official, any politician or any political party. This is taxpayers' hard-earned money that people can't even afford, because every time, every person in Jamaica pays taxes because they have to buy food. And this is how you treat the taxpayers of the country, by telling them that what they are experiencing on the ground is not real. The man says a good economy can name. Go and tell the private sector to go name the good economy, because no, they are not turning a profit. So tell them to name the good economy. Tell that to Metro Seaga. Tell that to all the companies that have now said, look, tell that to JMB that said it has lost money, it has made a profit. Tell them to name the good economy. Where is all we are saying, where is the accountability? And I will always say, corruption is not new to Jamaica, not a new phenomenon. It's not. It's the worst it has ever been. And if no one tries to cauterize this problem, it is going to go on for decades to come. And it's the children, the adults now, and the children now, and their children's children for generations who are going to be dealing with will then be saddled with the burden of corruption that is eating them alive, robbing them of a future. So it has to be done now. And when the minister comes and said there's no crisis, if Christopher gets sick tomorrow, I'm asking him to go to KPH and become a patient, be a patient. When Rhoda Crawford said she said it, when she got sick, she called the Minister of Health and was able to get a bed up at UA. Now, if her being a member of parliament and a member of the governing party had to call the Ministry of Health, you think she'll be able to go to the hospital in her neighborhood, like Mandeville Hospital? She passed Mapen Hospital on the way, she passed Spanish Town Hospital on the way, or wherever she was. If she was in Kingston, she had KPH, she had KPH, which is downtown. She could have gone there. She went to UE, but she had to call the minister. How many Jamaicans can do that? And why does it have to be you have to call somebody, you have to know somebody that knows somebody so you can get proper medical attention? And you say there's no crisis. When you talk about the drill, you can buy that same drill at the back with the different pieces individually. The same drill costs less money with all the pieces because it is a set. And as Rattigan broke it down beautifully on Saturday, corruption is the problem. Because $31 million for a drill that costs way less money, and they're going to say they're not a Google government, it's a science government. No, Google has, if Google has to be the friend of the person who doesn't know. Because we're not the only ones going on Google. Everybody's using Google. Like some people say, goggle it. So we're all goggling it. Nothing is wrong with that. And if we hadn't been able to goggle it, we would not have known that. Guess what? The same thing that you are charging the taxpayers of the country millions of dollars for, you got at a less rate. You got for less than you were at, than you billed the taxpayers for. And on top of that, you're getting 300%. You got a 300% wage increase, which is way more than the average public servant got. And with all of that, you're still ripping and raping and pillaging the taxpayers and turning around and looking at them when they sit on the floors in the hospitals, when the schools are broken, when the children can't read. You're looking at them and saying, no, this is the best it has ever been. Who are you talking to? When you say you have the hospitals have MRI machines and CT scans and they have all of these things, why can't the patient get the services that they need? So when they go to the hospitals and they tell them, oh no, it is not working, are they telling a lie? Why would they want to tell a lie on themselves when they want to make sure they get the test that they need done to save their lives? What is the maternity mortality rate in Jamaica right now? How many children and babies have died? How many mothers have died for lack of proper care? This is not a joke. It's not a joke. And he can get on a show and say this and say it with a bold face because he will never be affected by it. His children will never be affected by it. And because they're so far removed from it, they do not care. So I say to Jamaicans, don't vote for personality and stop vote for Bell because it makes too much noise. Vote consciously and vote with your head.
All right. Thank you, Sister Maria. Now, Jamaica, I am going to break down something to us all to show you that Dr. Christopher Tufton is lying. Now, Jamaica, listen to me. Cornwall Regional Hospital started at $2 billion for refurbishing and now permitted to over $21 billion. I see Marie here.
Correction is 24. It's now $24 billion. And 5 more months have been added on to when it's supposed to be opened.
Yes.
So it is being extended.
Exactly. Now skyrocketed to, what is it, 24 billion. Now watch this now, people. Let me answer this question. Marie said, so why Tufton keep asking for money in the budget for Cornwall if what he has on hand has not been exhausted? Very, very, very good question. Now, as a result of what Marie said, we are going to show Jamaica, right, clearly where Tufton is lying. Tufton is saying that, no, they have not used 21 billion or 24 billion, whatever it is, right? They only use 9 billion. Let us show clearly where Tufton is lying. Now, let us put up that document and show where Tufton is lying. They cannot explain as it relates to the 24 billion because they wrap it as plain and simple. So we want to prove it, right, as it relates to the 21 billion. And so no matter how Tufton I try to swing it, you understand, It is not any $9 billion. It's $21 billion. People want to come and read with me. You understand? Now look, hear what it says, people. Revised cost for Cornwall Regional Hospital rehabilitation now at $21 billion. Now, it never said that the $21 billion, you understand, was budgeted for the entire healthcare system. It's specified here, people. It's specified here. It said revised costs for where? Cornwall Regional Hospital rehabilitation now at $21 billion. Make we get down in the document. Now that piece of stuff you can't fool nobody, you know. Now listen now, people. The total cost for the redevelopment of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James is now estimated at $21.4 billion, according to new budget documents released by who? Not released by me and Rattigan. Not released by Melting Pot. Not released by Pinks and Sister Maria. Read this to clear the people. And did you what that is saying? The total cost for the redevelopment of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James is now estimated at $21 billion, according to what? New budget documents. New budget documents released by who? The government. So then, out of time now coming out to say that it is only $9 billion spent. What is that we are looking in front of us? Eh? Are we naive? Eh? Somebody need to come and explain it. What is that? It never said the total cost for redevelopment of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James is now estimated at $9 billion. It never said that. We want to look for it in people and see it. It did not say that. It said estimated at $21.4 billion. According to what? According to what? New budget documents released by the government. In detail, people. That figure includes the controversial $15 billion contract that the cabinet last year approved to Chinese. No, hold on. So I will get himself in a trouble. Mystic Sensation and Ratty, right? And Melting Pot and Pinks and Maria. Tufton will get himself in a trouble now, right? So now. Tufton will get himself in a trouble. Remember, you know, Tufton said a $9 billion. A $9 billion in total. You know. You know what you know? Look how this is contrary to what Tufton is saying. Maybe hear how that figure they go as it relates to the $21 billion. Right? Up here, so we go back up here, so. Right? Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James is now estimated at $21.4 billion. Now they are going to break it down for you. They are going to break it down for us in terms of telling us how taxpayers' dollars been spent. Now watch this now. You hear what I'm saying? That figure includes the controversial $15 billion contract, you know, that the cabinet last year approved to Chinese firm ZDA Construction Limited, despite the Public Procurement Commission claiming that the Ministry of Health and Wellness presided over an irregular process. So $15 billion. I wonder if I read back with you. I don't understand this one. So then if $15 billion contracted, right? Contract that the cabinet, you know, people, last year approved to Chinese firm ZTA Construction Limited, despite the Public Procurement Commission claiming that the Ministry of Health and Wellness presided over an irregular process. The ministry rejected the assertion. You know, see the evidence here, people. The estimated of expenditure for the 24 to 25 financial year tabled in Parliament today stated that the initial estimated cost for the ISAT project was just over 5 billion. However, it said the figure has been revised to 21.4 billion. Take that away. Someone tough time come talk to me. More tough time come talk to me. Come talk to me now, Mr. Tough time. More tough time come talk to me. But before I make tough time, talk to me. Rattigan, Brother Rattigan. Isn't that clear evidence to the entire electorate that Tufton is lying through his teeth? Speak to me, Brother Rattigan.
Yeah, the evidence is irrefutable because it's coming from the government. It's not coming from the opposition party. It's not coming from bloggers. It's not coming from dreams or suppositions. It's coming from documents provided by the government. So there's nothing further to add, except to say that I want to thank the researcher who sent this to me. She knows who she is. Tufton recently went on X and him start show off and say we have 3 MRI machines, 5 CT scanners, 3 mammography units, and 20 digital X-ray machines in 2025. And a person wrote, it is not progress. It is a stunning reminder of how dangerously far behind we are. It is not just out of touch. It is evidence of chronic failure, negligence, and incompetence. And you know why? Because the World Health Organization, they have minimum standards. And themselves a country of 2.8 million people, instead of having 5 CT scanners, you're supposed to have 36 CT scanners. This is minimum, you know, them say you're supposed to have. Instead of, and tough time say we have 5. The minimum is them say you're supposed, the lowest acceptable standard for a functioning health system for 2.8 million people requires that you have 36. Him say we have how much? We have 3 MRI machines. You're supposed to have 15. Him say we have what else we have? 5 CT scanners. You're supposed to have 36 CT scanners. We're supposed to have, and him say we have mammography. We have 3. You're supposed to have 15 mammography. And him say we have 20 digital X-ray machines. You're supposed to have 30. So my researcher, right? They said, listen to this. They said, and yet, just as the minister once proudly paraded the infamous 31 million drill in a flashy PR stunt, we now brace ourselves for the next round of theatrics. This time about 5 CT scanners. But the real question still stands. Where are they? Where them there? When they know the machines, them say we have them. It says, meanwhile, the CT scanner 1 at Cornwall Regional Hospital remains out of service. Why? Because the wrong UPS and the wrong air conditioning unit were ordered. This is not just a mix-up. It is an inexcusable failure of responsibility and a clear sign of unqualified leadership. When lives hang in the balance, this kind of negligence and incompetence is deadly. And the last sentence, last paragraph, enough is enough. Stop the performance. Start delivering the healthcare Jamaicans deserve. Lives are being lost while the ministry plays dress up. This is not theater. This is a national emergency. And there's more to it. What went on? But once thank the person for sending me all of that stuff. So it's like, first of all, in tell lie, and then it shows him incompetent. The World Health Organization said these are the minimum standard they need for a country of 2.8 million, and with a way below it. And him come out now and he must brag. We have this, we have that, and him realize it is below the standard. But who are going to hold him accountable? We have to hold him accountable. because him supporters them are going to use this now and say, see, we have CT scanners, we have this, and we are saying, yeah, but we don't have them. First of all, where are they? And why now we just get them? And what happened to the money we spent all along where we can't get no accounting feed? So this man, this is the same man who cock off him foot in a river water and I eat fish. You remember, Sister Maria, you see the video? This is the same man up on Negril Beach I sing from a little cottage in Negril.
Yeah.
This is the same man you see I ride down like a bicycle, a woman bicycle. Yeah. Now some complex.
Maria,
This man is at this is the man who you see I sell books in a.
But Rattigan, before you even remember what you're going to say, remember now the Prime Minister said don't need an opposition because his people, his supporters hold him accountable, so he doesn't need us. He doesn't need an opposition. So since he doesn't need an opposition, the opposition outside of the opposition have to say to him, say, no, it doesn't work that way around here. You will be held accountable. Whether you fly high or fly low, you will be held accountable. So we say, and that's so we do.
No, you know what? You say, him say no need one, we are give him one. We don't believe him no need one, we are give him one. I mean, we could go on and on about this man. This man is I don't know if this man is deranged or the man just simply evil. But either way, it's bad for the country. Yeah. Either way, it's bad for the country. And again, this is what happens, you know. This is what happens when you have a square peg or try to fit them in a round hole, you know. Because this man should have never gone nowhere near the Ministry of Health. They should have never put him anywhere near it. And yet still them put him in charge of it. And when they put him in charge of it, what we say? We say fraud, waste, abuse. We say stealing and an unprecedented stealing. I mean, nobody around here going to say, well then, boy, you know, stealing started with this party. Nobody not going to say that. But I think, I don't know if it's Pink Set or Cis Set or Melting Pot Set, but the level of stealing, we never see this before, and not only the level of stealing, but how them do it, broad daylight, broad daylight. The man in my teeth in front of it, and then them tell us, don't believe your lying eyes, don't worry about it, we're not stealing, and we're supposed to believe it, and then they come around with this foolishness. And by the way, Uno should know all we are accountable because we have our own people, we are all we are accountable. We don't need Uno for all we are accountable. Jamaican people, I wonder if we not pay attention to this nonsense. I wonder if we not pay attention to this nonsense. This is a clarion call for people to start taking notes and say, listen, as Sis says, you start looking at things and you start looking at your situation. How am I? One simple question. Am I better off now than when them take over? And you're worse off now. I can't tell you that. You're worse off now. You're worse off educationally. Compare don't spot we are produced right now. As far as infrastructure, we might as well just buy some, the 4x4 now with some big wheel on it because, and start drive on the grass instead of the roads because I created them, they're not on the road. National security, forget about that. We are shoot people now like them a bird. So that, talk about violation of human rights. And by the way, the corruption index, we're gonna go below 40 next time it come around, We're going to go below 40 because this Dennis Strong thing, and this thing when I try to get rid of the Auditor General. By the way, let me talk to you about the Auditor General. Today, I had a conversation with a senior, a senior JLP member. And we are talking about the Auditor General situation. And I said to him, but listen, I don't understand why we have an issue with it now, because, and I'm trying to get the Hansford Hansard proceedings, right? The people in the parliament forget it. Because I said, listen, I don't want to hear about the PNP was against it in 2016, because what happens is that everybody voted for it in 2017. And when they voted for it in 2017, guess what? There was a filtration process because it got through the committee. It passed parliament, upper house, lower house. Then guess where it go? It got over to the Attorney General for review for legal sufficiency. And then guess where it go after that? Go to the Governor General before it passed. Nobody had any issue with the Attorney General being on the commission. Nobody had any issue. I'm saying we never have no issue in 2018, 2019, 2020. It's only when the Attorney General now start put out some reports. You know what to me? Come say to him, say, I don't think objection is about the position. I think an objection is about the person. I know that you know what this senior JLP politician, him admit, him say, yes, it's the person. We don't like what she's doing. Couldn't believe me ears.
Brother Rattigan, even the GG has now opined. Normally, the GG is supposed to remain neutral. He has opined on this, you know.
He has risen.
And everybody's like, he has arisen in back. Listen to me, man, in back strong.
He's risen.
Normally, a governor general don't come out and speak on these hot button political issues. But all of a sudden, he has just, and it is concerning that he has done that.
Sis, yes. $750 million we him get last year, him should have talked more than that. And it's surprising because in bedridden and female, how can a surgery go on him with all kind of people and know him out to talk? He's the only one who can save the Attorney General position in the thing there, on the Integrity Commission, because all it requires for them to get rid of it is a simple majority in both houses. And them have simple majority in both houses. So, but guess what happened now? No law can become law, and no amendment can take effect without the Governor General's assent. Him are the only one. And here where him come and him sign it, I'm a hypocrite too. I'm signing it in 2017. And here him come now. Well, the administration, it's contradictory because there's a problem with Greg Christie up here, so running theme thing, and then the commissioners them running for them thing here, so it should be streamlined. Why never see that? How come they never see this back in 2017 when him signs? I remember him have a legal team running him. Him no see none of this. None of them. That's why I said people, the whole of them is a bunch of hypocrite, because them are the one who passed the bill, them signed off on it, they were fine with it. Go back and, if you don't believe me, go back and look at every December when the Prime Minister and a whole bunch of people have to make statements about anti-corruption day. I don't remember the day when it was December 6th or something like that.
I don't think he did it last December. I doubt if he didn't do it last December.
The Prime Minister?
Yes.
It's the first time since he's been commenting that he no mentioned the Integrity Commission. Every year in big up Pantan and the whole of them say, oh, they're doing a fantastic job and we're supporting them and blah, blah. And when them drag him with the 28th bank book and everything like that, him say, nothing we don't know. And him no mention nothing about them. Nothing he mentioned about them. But what are them like?
But you see Rattigan, if he was putting the Jamaican people first. Now he's saying, he's a humble servant and the people are his employers and he's just their servant because he want them both to come take with them rights, fully take away their rights and install himself as their permanent persecutor. But here's the thing, my problem with the GG, all those extrajudicial killings, it has registered on his radar.
Silent.
Yes. Remember now, all of the tensions and all of them things, who signed up on the state of emergency? Him. There can be no state of emergency. No. Listen to me, people. There can be no state of emergency in Jamaica if the Governor General not give his assent. No bill can become law. None of that can happen unless him put Fee Patrick, whatever Fee name last name, Allen. Unless him put Fee name on it and him signature. None of that can take place. So I hope, now that him sick and I don't know if him start realizing mortality, say him not gonna live forever, and maybe him need to make some changes. I hope when this thing come to him, when him pass this thing, so if he remove the Auditor General, I hope him say I'm not signing it and just leave it and just let it be. I hope him sit down in his bed. I have overtime now for lay down. I have no more time to stand up and cut ribbon. I'm good on that. In bad pan cut the ribbon, and shake and meet people and things like that. And now he must spend a lot of time on him back. And I think he might look up and then look up at him maker. And I think he might have some moments of epiphany. And I think let's just hope that this is the first one in a line of others to come where we start act the way he's supposed to act for the Jamaican people in terms of transparency and accountability and honesty. Because him saying represent the king, I'm sure so the king, well, probably the king want us get rid of him and get rid of him and just get rid of Jamaica as well. But until then, he must start stand up. So go and lay down on your back, JG, and go and talk out the thing because it's time.
All right, blessings, but now me bring back melting pot in the shrine. Melting pot.
Yeah, my brother.
You have heard Clifton out there on the political platform, right? Wanting to tell Jamaica, right, that there is no 21 or 24 billion dollars being spent. It's only $9 billion. Now the evidence that we just showed is showing you that, and it relates to government document, $15 billion paid out to the Chinese company, right? And where that budget was revised from $5 billion, you understand, to $21 billion, including the $15 billion that paid out to the Chinese company. What say you on the matter?
Well, my take on the matter, that I'm looking at a government that is a set of outlaw criminal. You know, outlaw are riding our town on a mask back.
All right.
Everybody see them and them shoot up the place and rob the place. And so them operate. Them are outlaw, straight outlaw. Them bare face, them no care. Because Tough Tongue is fully aware of the document where you just put out, you know.
Of course.
But Tough Tongue find time, because them like the 9 days that, you know, them kill things in a 9 days. And feel like, so well, nobody don't know about it or go remember and match it to what him has said. Because Tough Tongue, we know him not supposed to then nowhere near the Ministry of Health. Him not qualified. You understand? And he's not worthy to be the Minister of Health in the country. Because I'm underperformed. Him feel miserable. And them try to, you know, give him an upliftment by using a fictitious poll and say him are the best member of parliament, serving member of parliament in the country. You understand? And him never get no approval ratings to highlight the people them trust and confidence in him. You understand? Because the sample size with them do was nothing to write home about. I just not a corporate area. So we know them operate. You understand? But the problem I have now, me not hear him tell me which part the balance of the money there. Yeah? Because we are 20 odd million and him said no, him not spend that. When him say him spend that, he leave a balance, yeah, about roughly another 15 million. Basically. So where is that 15 billion? Sorry, where is that 15 billion, Tough Tongue? Where is that 15 billion? Because you claim say spend just over 5, you know, in a your lie statement. But then the official government document shows a $21.4 billion. You understand? So me want Tough Tongue come talk about the balance where it is and why it's not being utilized and why Cornwall Beryllium Hospital still need an extension of 5 months. Why? Because you have the money, you know. Why you bring in the Chinese them and award them that $15 billion contract when people have, you know, disgruntlement over such award to the Chinese? You understand? Plus, you never authorized to do that. You know, no responsibility in a portfolio to do what you do. You're supposed to oversee the ministry of how it run, but you award contract to your friend them. But I know if you're a contractor general, or you're the Minister for National Health, or you're a rice importer, you need to tell me, or you're a blue movie maker, come tell me who you is. But we don't see you as the Minister for Health. Because not even toilet paper in the system, you know. And when it come to light, you blame Jamaican for go there and take what toilet paper can go out them yard. And then you come back again and you say them round in a warehouse. You have too much unfounded, you know, statement to put out where we can't find the truth in them. So we know you forgot prison. Because you thief out, you want to use Cornwall Regional Hospital project as a project for funnel the money through when you not thief the money out of the country. Your ministry do that. Under your administration. And you are Andrew Wallace's portfolio. You understand? And this is why we cannot get no true auditing coming from your ministry. Because everything corrupt from top to bottom. So when time the real person go in now and find the discrepancy as it relates to the variances, yeah, you know what move the person, the creditable person what do them work. When you compare the work where Pamela Monroe Ellis do and match it alongside the one where Dunstan Bryan carry out for 11 years. One a work and one not work. But you never have no problem with Dunstan Bryan. You don't have problem with Pamela Monroe Ellis, the one who is working. The man who not working for 11 years. Yeah, as a permanent secretary for the ministry. Him not do no farmer accounting. So when the auditor general come in, she can't say, well then, yes, him thing up to date. Him delinquent for 11 years. But you never have no problem with him. You keep him until him gone pan study leave as gone to permanent study leave him gone pan. So that can't be a leave. You just need to tell us, well then the man run off or him resign. But it can't be no study leave. So we have to hold this outlaw government accountable. And as I said, we know who are the gang leader, you know. The gang leader, Andrew Wallace. You understand? Because if me a prime minister, none of my minister them can operate like how me see them guy operate under Andrew umbrella. So Andrew have to hear and I bet everything what them I do. Because remember, Andrew is just an outlaw criminal himself. You understand? Andrew don't look simple, you know. You don't take him simple either. Andrew is an evil, vicious individual that has done various wrongs in society. Don't just look upon him and take him as a modest individual. No. That's why I'm tricking all the while in Jamaica. That's why I'm called upon God all the while. Because God not there with Andrew. God not strive with Andrew. So I have to call upon him. Right now, I beg God to give him the energy he need for him and the JLP. Because the crime we are weird on Andrew Wallace becomes weak. He can't face society like when him they just come in a politics, when him vibrant and I run up and down. And I gain the trust of the people them. Because Andrew throw pies upon the whole of Jamaican people. I labor right him throw pies upon. Him not care when pies not a reach. Him just dash pies right across the board. Because Andrew, him an objective before him even becomes prime minister was to rob Jamaica using the same protocol where Edward Seaga did in his time. Seaga have a whole heap of hotel, you know. I'm big in a hotel business as a prime minister, borrow money and save no member. Well, Andrew supersede what Seaga do. Because Andrew think bigger. Him have from truck go all the way up to estate building and all type of shell company and all type of media and all type of this and all type of that. Andrew expand for him thing. Andrew also make sure no say him incriminate everybody around him. Andrew bring down the entire labor regime government. Every one of them up for prison sentence right now. And it is a result of Andrew Wallace, the ultimate leader. So when we look on them people here, we don't see no credibility in them. Them not supposed to even talk to nobody right now. Me no want no thief talk to me, you know. Because me have no intention to become a thief. Me want reputable people talk to me. You understand? So I saw me look for my government, you know. From you no good, me I go burn you straight. Because me now ease up the pressure. Because none of these men, where you see, take office, cannot go in an office without the people that put them in an office. I remember the people them put in an office, so to serve them. But instead, what we do? We not self-serve on self. We don't share out the people them food and give to Chinese, you know. The food we forget to Jamaican people and Chinese are consume that right now, and a whole lot of people from India. And some people in Central America and Latin America, all as far as Spain and in the Euro region. Nothing up on the table for Jamaican. You want to tell me some contracts under there, Jamaica could have get a $15 billion contract where Tough Tongue get to the Chinese?
Real talk, my brother.
Me hear Tough Tongue attack say we don't have no skilled personnel to do the type of work at Cornwall Regional Hospital. Tough Tongue, you knock your head. Most of the building before Chinese come at Jamaica, a Jamaican, I deal with them in infrastructure there, as it relates to construction work. We have some of the finest masonry, carpentry, plumber and all them things there. You understand? Because several high-rise building at Jamaica where Jamaican participate in. But the same thing what Andrew do with the road program, and the same thing you do with Cornwall Berlin Hospital. When a ballot out the Jamaican count no want nothing to leak in the local sector as it relates to where go on. In the corruption scheme. All of these investments want to draw the Chinese round. They are signs of corruption. And I make no bones about that. Because when you look on a country the size of Jamaica who are employing people from the second largest economy in the world with a population of 1.4 billion people, that's not supposed to happen. Jamaica does not have anything to share to give to Chinese as it relates to providing them with work in our country. Chinese have all of the manufacture them. The big manufacture them, the sportswear them, the Adidas, the Puma, the Nike. Them have all of the mobile phone, the Apple them down at them place and everything. But yet still, this government see it fit to employ over 200,000 of them in our space. And as a result of that, that is why our economy grind to a halt. Because big investment that take place in the country, but the local economy not benefiting because there's no locals working within the project. So what we find out is that even all our system, like the sewage system, being affected by these people, 200,000 of them depend it and use it. They're not paying no tax in the country. And the Jamaican people have to spend the money to keep them system they working. What can go so? So we have to look at a kleptocratic government that we need to have a thorough investigation. And as I said, Marky G, as you win the election, clamp down on them traveling documents. As you win the election, clamp down on them traveling documents. No two ways about that. I yield back the floor to another member.
But right. Melting Pot, before you go Melting Pot, you said 200,000 Chinese. What percentage of those Chinese are actually professional and skilled persons?
Very good question.
Because they go there and they get services and benefits that the most qualified Jamaicans don't get.
And that's a fundamental.
And they might not be qualified to have the positions and the jobs and the contracts that they are getting.
But
so it's an indictment on the country.
Right. And you want to know the sad thing about that, I won't take long. 95 or 97% of them are prisoners. Accompanied by that 3% or 5%.
That I believe. That I would believe. That I would believe. Because they get rid of them and dump them on other people. But quickly, what I've come to realize is that Andrew Holness inherited a country, a healthy democracy at work, where there are some systems of checks and balances in place that needed some improvement. But instead of improving on them, he had just dismantled the entire thing and is now trying to reshape it into his image and after his likeness, robbing the Jamaican people of their rights and their responsibilities and removing all protections that are put in place. And so that which he inherited, when he was in opposition, nobody talked about him not being in opposition. He was allowed to be a vociferous opposition. Now that he's government, he's saying he doesn't need an opposition. We need to look at this, pay attention, and realize that Andrew Holness has destroyed that which has been in place for 54 years since independence. It took 9 years to destroy it. Cannot allow him to do that.
Well said. And that being said, let me just have Pinks come in, a piece of the cake as well. Sister Pinks, my sister.
Okay. All right. You know, when Vatican read out the international requirement for equipment for a population of 2.8, I am shocked to know that our Minister of Health for the past 9 years did not even know or even Google the international requirement.
It's crazy.
So if you are in a position,
him not do Google, him do science and facts.
that's why I use the word Google, not even Google information to find out what are the requirements. Because if he attends all the WHO programs and the information coming from WHO supposed to come to us, he is our minister. We expect that he's supposed to attend these, get all the information from them to do his job. I am shocked that he did not even know that. The other thing I want to point out, that he is a PR person. And that's exactly what he is, and will always be a PR person. One of the biggest PR stunt he has ever drawn on us is this Jamaica Moves thing, right? Where he got on TV and promoting and running around with people doing aerobic exercises and stuff like that. Minister of Health, Dr. Tufton, please, for people to exercise, they need to have a full and very good and healthy diet. 3/4 of Jamaicans right now can't even afford to feed themselves with one healthy meal per day. And most of the diseases that are affecting our nation right now are lifestyle diseases. All right? So if you never know that, let me inform you of that. People who exercise have to eat healthy, have to have a balanced diet. So when you're going around Jamaica, they're talking about Jamaica moves, people must do exercise. Yes, but are these people who you're promoting to, are they able to feed themselves a healthy meal? The other point is that I remember this thing that happened some time ago where Valiant supposedly has hit him off a bicycle. No, in the history of me living in this country, it's the first time I have ever seen two famous persons have a vehicular accident and there are no at the scene pictures of the incident.
Exactly.
Every accident happened on Jamaican Road. There are pictures at the scene of the accident. And I have searched high and low and I've asked every labor right I come across, can you show me a picture of the scene of the accident of Tufton being hit by Valiant? The first pictures we saw was Tufton lying in a bed. Then a couple of weeks after, he had a full footcast happening into Parliament. His latest stunt was bringing the dog into Parliament and saying that is the first rescue mission for animals. Lie. That is a big lie. There is one big one in St. James in Adelphi right now where they rescue animals. You understand me? And the woman work with a grant. She received grants and she assists all stray animals. No matter what kind of animal it is, she taking the animal, not just dogs. So you're a big liar. The fear son of the dog in the Parliament. God Almighty, man. Now get back to Cornwall Regional Hospital. The AG said, also, she said 24 billion was spent.
Yeah.
You said 9, right? The difference of that is 15 billion, right? No, 15 billion is missing for the building. That's for the building, the construction of the building. Okay? From where I sit and look out my bedroom window, the building exists already. So basically it's just the whatever renovations you're doing. 15 billion for the building that is missing. You can't have account, you don't have no account for that. Now, what about the equipment? As you see, you don't even know the international requirement of the equipment. You don't even know the different connections required for the equipment. If you see, if you had Googled this information before you buy the equipment, just like the drill the other day, you could know you could have bought the drill in a set, just like a pot set. Most construction equipment come in a set. Most mechanical equipment come in a set. So if you had Googled this, you would have gotten the information because apparently you don't have the number for WHO to call these people to ask them information as to what is required for your country. So apparently you don't converse with the people who control the international WHO. How can you be a minister of health and you cannot converse with these people to take advice and take information from them to pass on to us as to our benefit? So what purpose are you there for? Riding a bicycle, a woman's bicycle, doing aerobics, lying in bed pretending you got hit off a bicycle? Come on. Bringing a dog into parliament? That is a mongrel dog, you know, it's a hybrid dog that needs special injections. The lady in St. James, she take up every type of dog, a whole heap of mongrel dog off the streets to rescue. So you bring in a hybrid dog into parliament does not move us. We know better. We know better. And you need to go home to your yard and go plant rice.
All right.
You serve no purpose.
All right.
Do me a favor.
All right. Put you right.
Can you put up the February 15th article?
Okay.
All right. Stop right there. No, but we need to point out to the people that it was at 21 billion a year and 3 months ago.
Yes.
This was the budget year. This was the budget year 2023 to 2024.
Exactly.
Because remember the budget start April 1st till March 31st. So
yes.
This budget year 2023 to 2024. This wasn't 2024 to 2025. And guess what? We're not 2025 to 2026 now. So in February, a year and February, March, April, May, June, a year and 4 months ago, it was at 21 billion. Last year, it was at 24. Now, people, here's a shocker. Guess how much money them putting on the budget this year for Cornwall Regional? It's at 24, you know. Guess how much I'm putting inside there? 5 billion.
So we need to add that.
You need to add the 5 to the 24. It's 29.
So 29.
Yes.
Oh, what a banger on this.
And him not talk about that. Him not talk about 5 billion with them getting at the budget this year. The budget 2025 to 2026 is $5 billion them get for add to the 24 where they're there. Because the numbers where you just show, that 21, that was 2 budget cycles ago. That was 2023 to 2024. Then you have 2024 to 2025, and now we in 2025 to 26. So him can't fool we around here, so.
Yes. All right. Take it away.
There.
All right. People, when we say that Andrew Honest is a snake oilsman, sales oilsman, we are going to show you this. Right? Now, here Andrew Honest on the political platform, people. I want you to listen to him on the political platform. Without any delay, let us get into Mr. Snake Oilsman, Snake Sales Oilsman, sorry.
You mean snake oil salesman?
Snake oil salesman. Thank you to help me out, Sister Maria. Snake oil salesman. Now let us listen to him. And a snake oil salesman, right? The definition of that is that he's a con artist.
We are in the promising season. And there are some politicians who are going to come to you knowing your frustration, knowing.
Now, this is the thing with Andrew Honest, the GLP. Always take their problems and put on other people. The thing that they know, the evil that they have done, they always put it on others. Listen to him, people. Let us start again. Listen to him.
We are in the promising season.
Yes.
There are some politicians who are going to come to you knowing your frustration, knowing your disgruntlement, knowing your anger, and try to feed upon that frustration, feed upon that anger. They're going to make promises to you that may address your concern. No. And you may even vote or change your vote as a result of it. But when it comes time to fulfill it, it can't be fulfilled. And then you become part of the disbelieving, frustrated voter who believes that politics can't change anything. In other words, this cycle of political apathy, this is what created it.
Wow. Wow. This is what you call reverse psychology at its best. Reverse psychology at its best. But let us look at the truth here, people. Let us go to 129 reaction. Now, listen to this. Hey, Andrew Honest really craft this, knowing that everything that he had just spoken about, he is the one who had done it. Everything that he had just spoken about, he is the one who had done it.
I was drafting a speech that I want to make, and I'll make it short. I won't make it here, but I have to contemplate saying to people, we need to have a positive outlook, and we need to have faith. And, there's a biblical definition of faith that I'm certain that all of you here know. It is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But if you look at that, biblical definition, it is, I come here and I'm saying we're breaking ground and we're handing over and we're showing you the solar panels that are in place. Have faith, because the ultimate objective is to say to the other communities that are looking on at what we are doing here, to say, have faith. But in front of you, why I can say that without feeling as if I'm making you a promise that is empty, is that this is what every other community that doesn't have water is hoping for. But in front of you is the evidence of the delivery of what you hope for. So we are going to be doing just that in our ceremonies that we are going to do when we are breaking ground, commissioning, or handing over. Because it is important that the rest of Jamaica who is not benefiting from this can have faith that the government that they have elected and will re-elect will deliver for them. I was drafting a speech.
Well, my wife just said, Hebrew 11 verse 1 can't save him. So I don't know where I'm going with that. Right? So Hebrew 11 verse 1 can't save him. But
all they have to do, Rattigan has it on repeat, He can just ask Rattigan for it and play all the promises he made in 2016 and 20. He doesn't even have to dust it off and go and look anywhere for it. Just call up Rattigan. He knows people that knows Rattigan. Call him up and say, listen, man, can you remind me of that thing that I promised to the people and I didn't do that?
Right.
And I said, going through and poison from the people because every accusation from Andrew Holness is a confession.
All right. Well, what I know, sister, let me talk to the electorate. Let me show the electorate now. Because him claims that the promising season, and he's preparing the electorate in saying that you have politician who's going to come and promise you all of this and all of that and this and that and that. Let us show the politician who do all of the promise and did not deliver. Let us show. Right? Because him not promising, him only make commitment. Let us show the evidence.
Within our first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to fix the date for general elections in Jamaica. So no government will be able to come and make false promises and hide the truth and tell you half truths and trick you into voting for them, and then when them win, them throw on poison for you.
100 days to fix election date, still I wait for the promise to fulfill. One broken promise after another. Laughable, as I said, none of your promise not fulfill yet, boss. So there you wait.
Within the first 100 days of our government, we will start the legislative process to institute impeachment proceedings in Parliament. This will add another layer of protection of the Parliament to ensure that only members of unquestioned integrity sit in the Parliament. All ministers under the new Jamaica Labour Party government will be given a job letter. That job letter has a timeline of 2 years and 6 months with key performance targets, which are agreed upon by the cabinet, focused on two things: economic growth and job creation.
Andrew, you need to do what you said from 2016. You say you're going to put it on paper. So anything you put on paper, the MP have to work with it. So you need to do it now. I feel like, say, when you do that, the MP will do them work and we will see work done in the community.
Within the first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to introduce term limits on the office of Prime Minister.
Andrew Holness, John, him break him promise and nothing him say I'm gonna do, for the next 100 days and now him not do nothing. Him not keep no promise and him say I'm the promise keeper. What a promise, John style.
At a convenient time within our new government, we will hold a grand referendum on the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice, as the final appellate court.
You make so much promise for us. Look how long you're in there. Nothing done. All for the COVID. You promise people them $25,000. Nothing done. Huh? So what you expect me to do? Tell me if you sleep with the door and window open and nothing done.
Still counting. All right. Well, let me start with the ladies this time around, because for me I started with the men. The ladies can't, I am going now. Sister Pinks, run out on the one now.
I think it was what two shows ago. I called him narcissist, a narcissist, and that's the only word I can describe Andrew.
Yes.
And one of the characteristics is that they blame people for their what they're doing. They're hypocrites,
Yes.
basically hypocrites, because even at his presentation at the CARICOM, everything that Andrew said was actually himself. The speech was actually about himself, that he was talking about. And whenever he used to call talking about corruption and blaming, pretending as if he's speaking about somebody else, he's actually talking about himself. The other thing I noticed with Andrew and his speeches is that he will take 15 minutes and he's talking about something, and like you have to explain the statement over and over again. So I don't know if he thinks all of the persons listening to his speeches are dunce. Why you have to go around in a circle and a merry-go-round and this up and down trying to explain your statement as if you're trying to be witty or trying to like you're smart. I don't know. It's like this emptiness, uh, emptiness. These other words that mean nothing. Even your speech, your presentation at in the clip about Cornwall Regional Hospital, all you had to say is one sentence, and you take 15 minutes and 1,000 words just to say you're renovating the building. Hello? Get to the bottom, the bottom. We don't need all the information you're giving us up, all extra words. And I find that people who are like that, who use 100 words to say what could have been said in 10 words, are people who are trying very hard to prove that they are an intellect. And Andrew, you are not an intellect. You are pretending to be an intellect. So using 100 words to say what could be said with 10 words does not make you intelligent. And that is why when he's speaking, I get bored easily because I'm like, okay, 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 get to the point.
Yes.
And many people who are listening to Andrew, like myself, think like that. Get to the point. You see, when Mark Golding gets up on a stage, he doesn't even use a paper, right? We see Andrew get up in a church praying and have to read a prayer. We see Andrew debating Peter Phillips, who is older than Andrew, and Peter Phillips beat Andrew. Andrew got the questions some time ago and was reading his responses while Peter Phillips was taking information from out of his head and responding and beat Andrew in that debate. Andrew is not an intellect. That's why he went to Delaware University to try to buy a DR before his name. And he went again. And before that, the first place he went to was UWI, and his own university refused to give him an honorary degree. Why? Because Andrew had to do several resits. Intelligent people do not resit exams. Labor rights. Naturally intelligent people do not resit exams. They do like Mark Golding and do their coursework in a shorter period of time than normal. So when Andrew is using this whole lot of words and taking up your space and time, I'm like, man, I have met Andrew and I have met him in circumstances where we're at a cocktail party and we have engaged in conversations, and trust me, I was bored. People who are, I have come across journalists who are interviewing Andrew and they're actually falling asleep in the interview because they are bored. Andrew is a bored, he's, he's a boring person. I don't know who sits for hours and listen to him. Apart from that, Andrew Holness, you need to start to pack your bags because we're coming for the office. We're going to take out the ombudsman position. We're going to reinstate that person in there. We're going to take out the DPP out their office. We're going to take out the EOJ office out their office. We're going to take out the NHG out their office. We have so much cleaning to do. You understand me? That carpet where you hide everybody's corruption, including yours, we're going to remove that carpet. Andrew, you need to go.
All right.
Pack your bags and go. We're tired. We're tired of you. Tired. Tired of your hot wind. Tired. The country is a standstill right now because of you. We and Haiti are basically in the same bracket. And Haiti have an excuse because they have a civil war going on. What we have over here is corruption. Years ago, Haiti was in a similar position like us right now with Papa Doc and Baby Doc because of corruption. Andrew, the same cell that Bob Carter went into, we want to escort into that cell. We want you to know when keys jingle, you're going to slam that door on you. I'll leave the panel over to somebody else, please.
Okay,
Tired.
all right, thanks for that input. Sister Maria, Ryle and Jagger.
Pinksy just talked about Andrew being boring and how they use a lot of word salad to get across whatever their points they're trying to make. But if you don't have policies on which you can stand, you have to come up with these things to try to distract from the fact that you don't have anything tangible to run on. So that is what is really happening here. And another thing that I've come to realize is that they have no respect for the Jamaican people. They see them as being dumb and, well, they can't read. So they have them in that space because they know when they are in that space, they will always come to them expecting $5,000 and a box food. They will not come to them expecting to get their roads fixed. They will come and ask for one donkey because that benefits just them alone. They wouldn't come and say, no, don't give me a donkey, fix the road so we can all benefit. So they have that one person mentality. Just help one person, just build a house there. And that's the mentality. And they have gotten the Jamaican people into that space. That mental space, like Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. The people are mentally enslaved because they are hanging on to the yes boss and I'm a boss. That no, you are the employer of these politicians. They are obligated to you. You have rights. They are trying to take those rights away. When they come to you to ask you for your vote, you have to say, what have you done for us lately? Not me, us as a community. What have you done for from the education system? What have you done for the healthcare system? And do not piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. People can see that the healthcare system is not working. It's broken because if they have to get a seat test on a CT scan or get an MRI. They're going to tell them to go into the private place and get it done. Why is that so? And if it's available in the private hospitals and it is working in the private hospitals, it should be available and working in the public hospitals. Why are the schools so broken? So much so that children are graduating from high school and cannot read and write. They cannot do basic arithmetic. But you have a mayor who can get $10 or $50 out of $10. Therein lies the problem. You have when you listen to these people speak, like in the words of Anne-Marie Vaz, the beautiful speaking, they don't want to have people educated. And this is not only about academic education, skills training, vocational training, being able to hold a conversation, be it in patois or proper English. This is not about how you speak, it's about how you can comprehend. It's about thinking outside of the box. It's about getting outside of the ghetto mentality, the garrison politics. They want to keep people in the garrison because, in the words of J.C. Hutchinson, they get a one day a box of food. No, the rest of them get a box of food and $5,000. Chuck can come out and be handing out chickens, and that's okay because him give me some chickens. Instead of fixing the farm, helping the farmers to build themselves, giving them arable land, providing for them water that they can water their plants, and providing markets for their produce. Do that on a grander scale instead of doing it for one person. One donkey benefit one person, you fix the road, it benefits everybody. So they have to get out of the one person politics and look at the politics of the community. Look at policies. How did NHE talk? He says that the PNP do nothing, but he has put a half a roof on a PNP foundation. The foundation will always be there even when Gilbert blew the roof. So you have to look at policies and remove from personality politics, because personality politics has run its course. It's policies and legislation that people need to look at now. How is the legislation benefiting you and yours? How is it benefiting your community? When you listen to a prime minister, when you hear a prime minister say to the people, we don't want to kill you. That is how you treat the young people in the crime situation, when poverty is the biggest driver of criminal behavior, when poor education is the biggest driver of criminal behavior. How is he addressing that? How has he addressed that? Instead he's saying, meet your maker or meet a judge. It is the grace of God that caused that young man, Orlando Gray, to not have met his demise at the hand of the police, that caused him not to become a statistic. The grace of God. And had he become a statistic, the commissioner of police would come out and say he shot at them. That's what they would have done. Because all the persons that have met their demise at the hands of the JCF, they are labeled as criminals. All of them are not. And they have mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, nieces, uncles and aunts need to say, I have to vote for my nephew, my niece. Mothers and fathers have to say, I have to vote for my son, that the state do not cause his demise, because the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security have given carte blanche to them, to the law enforcement, to say, yes, take them out because they have no use. So who must vote for these people when they kill off all the young people? Who is supposed to vote for them? And they need to talk about the extrajudicial killing. They need to ask those questions of the Prime Minister and say, how can you say that? Who is supposed to vote for you when you do that? Who are you expecting to vote for? They're not all criminals. They are not. And nobody here is condoning criminal behavior. But there's a system in place that can hold them accountable, they do not have to meet their demise the way they have been. And too many of them have met their demise unnecessarily. And they have to walk a mile. They don't care because they're not being affected. And God forbid, the same thing happens to a young person uptown, then you're going to have a sea change. You're going to hear, oh, the JCF has been out of control and this is unacceptable. International human rights organizations have sanctioned and have chided Jamaica's extrajudicial killings and the violation of the rights of the Jamaican people, their human rights. So Andrew has to use word salad to try and hide the fact that he doesn't have any tangible thing to run on.
That's true.
And I see my time going here, and my device is practically dead. So if I go out, you know that's what happened. But I'll hold on till then.
All right. All right. Because we have been extended ourselves, right? And we know that the ladies have to, do their appropriate chores. We don't want to extend too long. So we are asking the remaining panelists, which of course the gentlemen, right, sort of brief and we could sort of wrap it up. Now, Melting Pot, as me talk, you close the session, So let us hear from Brother Rattigan. Come in, Brother Rattigan.
Yes, I'll try to be brief because I was making some notes here. One of the things on a Saturday on my program is we have a segment called Interviewing and Interrogation Techniques, where we teach our people how to interview people, to understand the distinction between an interview and interrogation, how to go from one segue into the other, and also how to listen, how to be a critical thinker, how to formulate questions. And on Wednesdays, we have role playing where I pretend to be a minister and then they ask me questions. Some of them take it really, really serious and then come on like you wouldn't believe. But then I pretend that I'm Andrew Wallace and I try to answer the question and I explain to them during that questioning how to phrase the question when you come up against a politician. Just don't ask any question. Just, how you prepare yourself and how you formulate your questions. Why do I say that? Say that because the Prime Minister has a habit of telling people that he doesn't make promises, he makes commitments. And now, if people who tune in on a Saturday, they understand the difference, and I'm sure the people here tonight, they understand the difference, because here's what happened. A promise is an assurance to do something in the future. I promise to do this. And guess what? A commitment is. It's a pledge to do something in the future. Same damn thing. So when him tell you, say, I don't make promises, I make commitments, you tell him, say, it's the same thing, sir. It's the same. You're promising, you're assuring us that you're going to do something in the future. No, he made the thing you just played the clip, 5 promises. Fixed election date, impeachment, job letter, term limits, and the referendum on the CCJ. Now, the third one is quite interesting because he said a job letter. Every minister must get a job letter that will be focused on economic growth and job creation. Now, I have a pending ATI for the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade because I want to see her job letter. And them play games with me, but me can't play games, so we can wall. So we are walls with them right now. But what's interesting about this number 3 promise is that there is a ministry called Economic Growth and Job Creation. So when him say, I'm going to give a job letter and it will be focused on economic growth and job creation, I don't understand that because he created a ministry for that. Also, tell me now, how will the Ministry of National Security, how will they reflect their participation in economic growth and job creation? Killing more people? I mean, I don't understand that. And the election date, that's not going to happen. Impeachment, it's not going to happen. Term limit, it's not going to happen. Referendum, you see what they did with the constitutional reform? They just pushed those things to the side. They talked about them, but they pushed them to the side and said, listen, you can create laws for those. We don't want them in the Constitution. What better way to fulfill these promises than putting them in the Constitution? And some of them, they said, oh, we're doing the Constitution in tranches, in different stages. And this is just stage 1. And then when people ask them, so tell us about stage 2 and stage 3 and stage 4, they can't tell you. Can't tell you. Last thing I have to say, and this is just my advice to the opposition. I saw videos of what appeared to be vote buying in the last election. So what I would say to the opposition is simply this. If you don't know about the Carter Center, get familiar with the Carter Center, because the Carter Center, they exert oversight in foreign elections. The problem is this, that the Carter Center will come in only at the invitation of the government. So what the opposition has to do is petition the government to say, listen, we want the Carter Center to come in to make sure this is a free and fair election. Put the government on the spot. Make them say, no, we don't want them. And that's a signal to the whole world that we're going to buy vote. Ask them, because the Carter Center has been to Jamaica already. So ask them. And if they won't, if they hesitate and budge, and now is the time. Ask them now this week. And if you don't, and give them an answer, tell them say you need an answer by Monday or Tuesday. If you don't get the answer, here's what you can do. You can write the Carter Center and said, we have petitioned the government for you to come, and we would like for you to come. And then the Carter Center will then probably do an outreach to the government and say, hey, the opposition asked us to come because there have been instances of vote buying, and provide the videos and see if they will, if that will get them, interested in the process. But they have to do this, because you know what? I don't want to hear the election over and them say, boy, the man them buy up a whole heap of vote. Because you know what? Ratigana go say me they tell you no. So you for contact Carter Center. And the time to contact the Carter Center is now, because the Prime Minister said what? Him say him in a full force now as far as the election is concerned. Them up and them ready and them they're willing to move. So that's my last piece of advice to them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Ratty, for that input there. All right, Melting Pot, close the curtain for us.
Yeah, my brother. I just want, Andrew Wallace for no say. No trick, no lies and no con. Now get you through over the line this time. Yeah? Because remember, you trick the people, with promise and commitment. But me can't tell Jamaican people say you are not even committed to your commitment. Because you haven't done anything in regards to your commitment. And as it relates to you coming and making a warning to the people and to the electorate board, some people are going to come around and like them are come with goodies bag and beware. Are you alone carry them thing there? Because right now the People's National Party don't even really requires any amount of party funding for this campaign. Because the People Party is up, fully tuned, functioning and ready. I you hear them say blood and fire, time come. No money can buy this election, So but why you get that straight and plain. This election will not be bought by your administration using all these influx of money we want to garner from them substance when we see coming at the place. Because we bring in the substance, I want to prepare yourself a fanfare with money a splash all about for buy the election, because you desperate to hang on to power. We know that the entire world know. Because power is your ultimate goal right now. Because you're facing a long, long time in a prison. You and all of your supporters. Yeah, your member of parliament, them, should I say, for want of a better phrase, because the supporters are the people who are put in there. You see the man them around you, we join your gang, the whole of them go to prison. So we know your ultimate goal is for hold on to power. You understand? So you bring in a whole heap of thing, we see it, how long it a come in. Yeah, value billions and millions of dollars. And you feel say you can use it and splash in this election period. No, the Jamaican people, for once in them life, has heed to the cry of the nation. And the cry of the nation is that they need an alternative government to preside over Jamaican affairs. They need a government that can take plane and go abroad and represent the country as it relates to our security. Our current Minister of Security cannot travel to meet with any foreign counterpart as to be a part of any form of ongoing security strategy that will govern our region, CARICOM. So we don't want you come talk about no spending spree and people come trick people with nothing in a goodies bag. What you need to do is make sure you call the date so the people can get prepared. That's what the people are yearning for. That's what they are longing for. The announcement date of this upcoming general election. So my people, the comrades, and the People National Party, they are prepared. They are well prepared. They are fine-tuned. They are committed to the change that Jamaica needs. Even some of your supporters, long-standing supporters, are fed up of your policy. Your style of governance, Jamaica are not used to it. Jamaica are tired of a prime minister who lies everywhere he goes. They are tired of a minister of national security who can't travel and who indulge in gang-related affairs. They are tired of a minister of health who does not know what he's doing and lie and everything as it relates to the finance of the Ministry of Health. They want people that they can trust. They want people that have their values at heart. They want people in office who will look after the upbringing of their young ones as it relates to education. They don't want people that steal from the educational sector. They want to see the back of Royal Reed like tonight. So when you come now and try to instigate your little PR stunt where we know you're the master of reverse psychology, yeah, and trying to make it look like these people now when come around, PMP now no money to spend. The entire Jamaica know that. A party that only have 14 members of parliament can't have no money to spend. A party that will utilize means and force of corruption, yeah, and victimization by keeping them away from the public purse as it relates to what Warmington said. No PMP now get the money to spend. I want to do it right across the board. It's only through Warmington come out public with it. But all I want to do it. We don't do allocate nothing for the PMP. So PMP now no money. PMP no run by private sector, let me tell you that. And PMP don't bring in cocaine to the country. PMP only have the moral support of its supporters who are hell-bent and coming out this time. You can't trick them. You can't blindfold them no more. And you can't pull off no stunt with the election. You remember in 2020, or you just quickly announce the election because you do your canvassing and know where you go on. You know the People's National Party people are disciplined people. Them now got break no rules and come out to put them life in a jeopardy for no election. And you, along with Trinidad, are the only two countries call an election in that period. Right? So the People's National Party, them did rest out the last election. You see that one here? Them are come out full force, full steam ahead. Them are come down for you like a ton of brick. Them are move you from the space of Jamaica politics. I remember the people crying for you to be held accountable and to be brought to justice and charged and put behind bars. You and your members of parliament where you have in your cabinet. Nobody will spare under the wrath of the justice. We will get the full force of the justice. I remember Sir Mark Jefferson Golding has made that publicly clear to Jamaican that some of Uno are got charged with corruption and is a man of his word. He will not fall back on his word like how you fall back on your promise and commitment. Sir Mark Jefferson Golding will make this a mandatory moment in a Jamaica history where you will become the first prime minister to be charged and put into prison, and where your entire members who are a part of this funky game on to play with our society go along with you. And so I'm saying to my comrades, the People's National Party hard-working team of candidates, I say to you, my brother, be strong, be wise, be cognizant, because this guy is a 3-card guy. Him have something up in sleeve. So no watch out on the corner high. Because he will try even upon the 9th hour to defraud the election. But with the eyes of the Almighty watching over the country, he will not prevail. So in my closing words tonight, I say to you, my brother, power, power, power for the people. The word is love.
Right. What a heat. Well, first and foremost, I want to say, thanks to all the ladies, particularly to my wife tonight, where I have that, stint of difficulty, right? But she took up the mantle, and trust me, she did well, right? So I applaud her for that. The lady Spinks, right? Sister Maria, right? On the journey with us, right? Fighting for good governance. I want to say thanks, Brother Ratty, for always being here. Trust me. And, always project positive energy. Love that, Brother Rattigan. Thank you so much. And, the man with the sledge, when him heavy down, you don't know, say things get crushed. Now, Melting Pot, big thanks to you. To the panel, to all the people in the chat, all the subscribers, Mystic Sensation said, a big thanks. Walk good. Love you. And remember, put the X beside the head. All right. We are out. Bless up.
Bless up, people. Bless.
Thank you. All right, Pat.